Yo! Yo! Man. Hey, y'all can't do swerving. Everybody already know you're lurking. Everybody already know I got murder. Everybody know I'm gonna touch down. Everybody know I'm about to slide through. Everybody know I'm about to touch down. Everybody know be your slide through. Hey, y'all already know the vibes, man. I'm on live. Hey, yo, Father, good. Father, y'all see you early, my boy. Hey, hold on, Father, give me a minute. I ain't even knew you was on. I ain't even ready. Hold on, Father. You gotta give me a little minute. Hey, I came through swerving. Everybody already know y'all lurking. Everybody already know yeah, man. Everybody already know touchdown. Everybody know I'm about to slide store. It was good. Everybody in here, man. Oh, now you good? Do what you got to do. I got to change the title, though. My title, oh. Yo, what's good, everybody? You good? Do what you got to do. I gotta change my title, though. My title bad. Yeah, I ain't know I'm about touchdown. Yeah, I ain't know I'm about to slide, though. I got a video, man. Let me go to it. They probably ad playing. I ain't want hold on, let me make sure. Everybody know I'm gonna touch down. Everybody know I'm about to slide through. Everybody just watch a little video right quick, man. Y'all know the vibes. Just get y'all warm up.
The story happened roughly 15 years ago, and I just had to share it. Now that the company is dissolved, I shouldn't get into any trouble.
Nah, this ain't no game.
I'm
we watching the video just to get some people to come. Yeah, the video like 27 minutes. We doing a 27 minute intermission. Yeah, we playing the game after this video. Not now though. Give me a minute.
I used to work for a company that built cars. I won't name the brand name or its location for privacy reasons. I worked in the finishing 2 department. Now, it's important to know the layout of our department. In our department, the actual frame of the car would be brought through on a massive assembly line. We had 3 lines in our department each for a different make of vehicle. There were 2 high pots on each line. These high pots were massive, probably the size of a pole barn and basically a building within the building. The first high pot on each line was a giant washer that would spray the unpainted frame down with silica, which is a very toxic chemical many factories use at a boiling 500 degrees Fahrenheit. This was done to clean off any impurities in the frame, and the silica made the paint stick to the frame better. After leaving the first high pot, it would go to the second one where the frame was dunked, flipped over, dragged, and pulled out of the giant pool of paint by a robot, and then sent down the line after going through the dryer. Anyway, these high pots have certain safety features on them. One being if you open a door while it's running, it trips the e-stop and sets off the alarms. However, the machine has to be stopped from the outside before the doors to it will unlock, and there's no stop button inside them.
Bro, I ain't even changed my title. My bad. I don't even know what today is. What today is? bad.
This will be important later. Anyway, we had this supervisor named Christy, and let me tell you, she was a bitch. Christy was a redhead in her 30s who didn't really care about anything. I literally heard her tell someone, "Look, I don't care if you have a heart attack and die." Yeah, she's that kind of person. She didn't really bother me too much. However, there was one employee over at the other high pot line that she had it out for. Armando. Armando was a Mexican guy in his 40s who had apparently immigrated to the United States only 4 years prior. He had been working there for roughly 1 year at this point. He was quiet, but he did a good job. Christy wouldn't leave him alone though, and whenever she thought nobody was listening, she would walk by him and just make really awful comments. One day I heard her walk by him and make an awful joke that I won't even repeat here. Little did she know this would set Armando over the edge. Later that day, I was running my line when I heard the alarms for the high pot washer on Armando's line go off. It probably just faulted out again, which actually happens regularly to all of our equipment. I didn't think much of it and just went back to my own line. 10 minutes later, I hear the alarms go off again, this time in a different tone, signaling the high pot is starting up. Then I hear screaming. Christy's muffled screaming. I look over and I see Christy in one of those plexiglass windows of the high pot washer screaming and banging on the door as the hot sicka is being sprayed on her. I then look over to Armando and I'm expecting him to hit the e-stop or do something. But he doesn't. He just stands there watching with his arms crossed. I quickly run over the walkovers that cross over the conveyors. I have to cross 3 of those to get in his line, which takes about 1 minute. I run over to the control panel and press the e-stop, which unlocks all the doors on the high pot washer and sets off the alarms as well.
Hold on, y'all. I ain't did my title right. One more time. What I got going on, bro? Oh my goodness, man. My bad, y'all. I got a title now. Okay.
Christy stumbles out of the access door to the high pot, and I'll never forget the horrifying scene of flesh melting away from her bones and blood beginning to ooze out that awaited me. Eventually, paramedics arrived and Christy was taken away, and Armando was taken away in handcuffs by the police. Apparently what happened is Armando stopped the washer and then just walked away. When Christy noticed it was down, she came over to investigate, and then went inside it as well when she didn't see Armando around. Armando then shut the door behind her and locked it and then started it back up again, spraying her to death with scalding hot sicka. Apparently he was so sick of her harassment and apparently HR had done nothing about it that he just finally snapped. Armando was actually sentenced to life in prison for this, and Christy ended up dying from her injuries. OSHA began an investigation. However, the company went bankrupt 2 years later before the investigation was even finished, and the building was eventually demolished. I still think about that to this day, and I can't imagine a more horrifying way to die.
I built my bag collection with Fashion File. Fashion File have the largest selection of certified authentic finds. From Louis Vuitton, Chanel.
My name is Reed and I'm a 25-year-old male. This is about the time I had a stalker at my job at a restaurant where I worked as a bartender. I never thought much about the people I worked with at the restaurant. It was just a job, something to pay the bills while I figured out the rest of my life. I bartended every night, working the late shift. Most of the customers were regulars. Old faces, late-night drunks, the occasional couple on a date. Nothing ever really stood out. That is, until I met her. Her name was Clara. She started about 3 weeks after I did, filling in for shifts when we got slammed. She wasn't anything special at first, just another person trying to get by. Tall, dark hair, a little too much makeup for the job. I never paid her much attention, just another face behind the counter. But there was something about her that just started to feel off. It was little things at first, like how she always stood just a little too close when we talked, or how she'd smile just a bit too long when she handed me an order. I didn't think much of it. I just chalked it up to her being new, maybe a little nervous around me or the job. But then it kept happening. She'd linger around the bar when it wasn't her shift, watching me work, asking if I needed help when I clearly didn't. She'd comment on how I made drinks or how I interacted with the customers, even though she wasn't exactly an expert herself. I caught her looking at me from across the room, her gaze lingering just a little too long. At first, I figured I was just imagining it, but after a few nights, I started to feel more like she was studying me. One evening, I was wiping down the bar after the last call when she came over. She had this tight smile on her face, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're really good at what you do," she said, her voice soft but not exactly casual. "You've got this ease about you." I smiled back, kind of unsure on how to respond. "Thanks, I've been at it for a while." She nodded, her fingers lightly tapping the edge of the bar almost absent-mindedly. Then she said, "Maybe we could hang out sometime. You know, outside of this place." I didn't know how to respond. I wasn't rude, but I wasn't interested either. "I don't really think that'd be a good idea," I said, trying to keep my tone friendly. "I'm actually pretty busy outside of work." Her face faltered for a second, but she quickly recovered. "Oh, no worries. Just thought I'd ask." The next night, she had handed me a folded piece of paper when no one else was looking. She smiled like it was some kind of secret. "Just in case you change your mind," she said softly. "I'd like to spend more time with you." I opened the paper after she left. It was a phone number. I wasn't really sure what to make of it. I didn't want to be rude, so I pocketed it, figuring I could just ignore it if it came to that. But the whole interaction left a weird feeling in my stomach. Something didn't feel right. The following week, Clara's behavior escalated. She started showing up at the bar on nights when she wasn't scheduled to work. I'd be mixing drinks, and there she was, sitting at the counter with her usual drink, just watching me. At first, I thought she was just a regular customer, but then I noticed how she'd order the same thing every night, sip it slowly, and watch me work as if she was analyzing every little thing I did. I'd catch her staring at me when I wasn't looking, and when I did look up, she'd quickly glance away like she'd been caught doing something she shouldn't have. The worst part was how she never seemed to talk to anyone else. She'd just sit there waiting for a moment when I wasn't busy to talk to me. I started to feel trapped, like I was walking a tightrope, unsure when she crossed the line between friendly and, well, something else. One night after the bar had slowed down, I was wiping down the counter when she slid into the seat right in front of me. "Reed," she said softly, almost like she was telling me a secret. "I've been thinking about you a lot lately." I froze, the rag in my hand pausing mid-air. I tried to laugh it off. "Well, it's not like we don't see each other enough here." She didn't smile. "No, I mean, I really think we have something special. You're not like the other guys. You don't just see me as a bartender. You see me." I wasn't sure what to say to that. I didn't feel any special connection whatsoever. Nothing like that anyways. "I don't know what you mean, Clara." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope, sliding it across the bar toward me. "It's for you. Just a little something." I hesitated, then took it. Inside was a card, a personal one, the kind you give someone you had a history with, not someone you just met. The note was simple but chilling. "We're meant to be together, Reed. I know you feel it too." I felt my stomach drop. My thoughts raced, but before I could say anything, she stood up and left, leaving me with that feeling of unease deep in my bones. That's when it started. The weird notes, the unexpected visits to my apartment, the awkward forced interactions where I'd try to be polite, but she just wouldn't take the hint. She started to follow me after work, waiting outside the restaurant sometimes, watching me walk to my car. She'd smile and wave, but I'd get in my car as quickly as I could, my hand shaking on the wheel. I couldn't take it anymore. One night after I got off late, I found a note on my windshield. I know where you live, Reed. I'll be there soon. I went cold. I didn't know how she found out where I lived, but I couldn't ignore it. This wasn't some harmless crush anymore. She was stalking me. I had to talk to my manager. I told him everything. How Clara was making me uncomfortable. How I was scared to come to work. How I was feeling trapped by her constant presence. He listened, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. It was hard for him to believe me at first. But when I showed him the note on my windshield, his face dropped. The next day, Clara was fired. I'd heard from the other staff that she had been let go for unprofessional behavior. They didn't go into details, but I knew it was more than that. I wasn't the only one she had been bothering. Apparently, she'd been sending strange texts to a few other coworkers too, but I didn't find that out until later. My manager called me into his office after her firing. He seemed genuinely sorry about what had happened. I know it's been rough, he said, and I just want you to know if you ever want your job back, it's yours. But I didn't want to come back. I couldn't. I didn't feel safe there anymore. Not after everything that happened. The restaurant had been my escape, my routine, but it had turned into a place of anxiety. A place where I constantly looked over my shoulder. No amount of money was worth the constant fear I'd felt. I appreciate the offer, I told him, but I can't come back. It's just too much. I walked away from that job and I never looked back. It wasn't easy. Money was tight for a while, but I eventually found something else. Something safer, quieter. But even now, there are moments when I'm walking down the street at night and I feel like I'm being watched. I'm always on edge, always checking over my shoulder. I don't know where Clara is now, or if she's even still out there. Maybe she's moved on to someone else. But I've learned that some things just stay with you even after they're gone. And for me, the worst part isn't even the fear anymore. It's the question that keeps me up some nights. What if she's still out there, waiting for me to slip up again? But that's a problem for someone else now. For me, well, I'm done. It was July 2011. I had just turned 21 and was living in the Piedmont region of North Carolina. Dating apps were still in their infancy, and I found myself gravitating towards Craigslist personals. It was raw, anonymous, and wide open, each post a gamble. Users would write short ads with vague descriptions. Sometimes they included a blurry photo. Most of the time, it was just a few bold sentences dangling mystery and danger. Young and naive, I wasn't looking for love, just a quick, exciting connection. I responded to one listing that immediately caught my eye. A woman replied almost instantly, which both surprised and excited me. Our chat started off innocent enough. Greetings, interests, light flirting. But soon, we were diving into fantasies of what we might do if we met. It was PG-13, at least for that era, and I was buzzing with adrenaline. After about 30 minutes, she asked for a picture. I sent her a selfie and requested one in return. What I received was a woman who looked to be in her mid-40s.
Oh.
She had shoulder-length blonde hair, hazel eyes, a warm...
Boy, you better get you that cougar. Oh, what my shades at? I need my shades. Oh, man, I don't know my shades at. My package later.
Smile and breasts that seemed designed to scramble in the mind of a 21-year-old boy. Her body wasn't toned, but she appeared healthy, normal, like someone's attractive suburban mom. I was hooked. Then she asked, "Are you generous?" I didn't know what she meant. Generous how? Time, compliments, but I didn't want to sound dumb and risk ruining the moment. So I answered, "Of course I am." She then responded with, "Perfect," then gave me her address. She lived about 30 minutes away from me. I told her I'd head out right away. She replied, "Great, I'll get ready for you.
There are actually so many different ways to customize your character.
I didn't know that, sis. What game this is? I thought it was the same. No.
The drive was a cocktail of excitement and nerves. I couldn't believe my luck. The idea that a woman like her wanted to meet me, just some skinny guy from the area, felt so surreal. But the closer I got, the quicker my confidence evaporated. The houses grew more run down, the yards cluttered with discarded furniture and trash bags. Streetlights flickered over cracked sidewalks and shuttered windows. I told myself not to judge her by where she lived. People fall on hard times, right? Still, the butterflies in my stomach started swarming into something darker. I arrived at a 2-story house. It wasn't as dilapidated as the others, which gave me a sliver of hope. I surveyed my surroundings carefully, marking anything that felt off. The street was quiet. No voices, no movement. Just the hum of distant traffic and the occasional bark from a dog down the block. Before getting out, I hid all of my belongings in the car so there'd be nothing tempting to steal. I carried only my phone and more shoes I could run in just in case. I climbed the steps and knocked. A woman's voice answered from inside. "Come in." The door creaked as I entered, and my senses were immediately assaulted. The inside was absolute chaos. Newspapers stacked to the ceiling, crusty takeout containers balanced on shelves, boxes stuffed with random junk, and cereal spilling all across the floor. The smell wasn't overpowering, but carried the unmistakable scent of decay. Straight ahead was a staircase leading to the second floor. To the left, a living room bathed in flashing TV light. A tall man sat on the couch, arms stretched across the backrest, staring at the screen like he was waiting for something. Or someone. A chill ran through me. Who was he? Why didn't she mention anyone else being here? I called out, "Hey, where are you?" Her voice answered again, soft and sultry, this time from a room down the hallway. The man never once turned or spoke, just kept watching the screen like a silent gatekeeper. I moved cautiously, weaving through the towers of trash and grime. The hallway narrowed with debris, and the air grew heavier with each step. I peeked into the doorway and just froze. There she was, but she wasn't the woman from the photos. This woman was large. Massive even. Her greasy brown hair hung limp, and the top of her scalp was patchy. Her face bore uneven makeup, with a few prominent moles barely masked. When she smiled, I only saw a handful of teeth behind streaks of red lipstick. She sat on what I assumed was a queen-size mattress, though most of it was buried under the trash. Her breasts barely sat inside a sheer-stained nightgown. They hung to her knees as she sat wide-legged, motioning for me to come closer. But what truly turned my stomach wasn't her appearance. It was the environment. The bed she sat on looked molded, collapsing beneath her weight. Roaches scurried out from the mounds of trash she shifted to make space. The room was a biohazard. She gestured for me to sit beside her. I took one hesitant step in, still unsure how to exit without escalating things. She asked, "What would you like to see, dear?" while fondling herself. Then she said, "So, how generous are you going to be tonight?" Confused, I asked, what do you mean exactly?" She giggled. "How generous are you going to be with your payment?" Suddenly, it clicked. Generous was code. This wasn't a hookup. This was a transaction. I began backing out of the room, apologizing profusely. "I'm sorry. I didn't understand. I didn't know this was that kind of arrangement." I was halfway down the hallway when the man from the couch stood up, now blocking the door. I felt the walls closing in. He was huge, easily 6'8", broad and unmoving. Behind me, the woman stormed into the doorway. "You
6'8"? What? LeBron?
Wasted my time and you're not even going to pay for it?" she hissed. The man crossed his arms and spoke in a voice like steel. It's either you pay for the time you wasted or I'll take the payment from you, little man. Fear pulsed in my chest. I was alone in a strange house, cornered. I had no backup, but then I thought of a way out. I stood tall. Well, as tall as a 5'5" guy could at 120 pounds. I then said, "If you really think I came out here without telling someone where I'm going, you're absolutely stupid. I told my friend before I left to expect a call within 45 minutes. If they don't hear from me, they're calling the cops." He squinted at me. "You're bluffing. You sure you want to take that gamble?" I said, pointing toward the window. "Because I smelled weed from the sidewalk, and the cops will too. You let me walk out right now and I'll forget this ever happened. But if you make this hard, you'll have 2 squad cars parked here in less than 10. Dead silence followed. Then the man turned to her and shrugged. "Look, this one's not worth it. Don't you have someone else coming later on?" She nodded, and without another word, the man stepped aside. I didn't wait. I walked out that door calmly, controlled, never turning back, never saying a word. I got in my car and drove off. The moment I was out of sight, I screamed. Relief, shock.
I go live on TikTok sometimes, but it's hard to go live on YouTube and TikTok at the same time. It be lagging. I ain't gonna lie, my Wi-Fi is not all that good, but I gotta get some better Wi-Fi.
Anger. I was lucky, and I never went on Craigslist again.
Why are you...
Oh, picture this. It's about 4 in the morning. One of those cold, damp London weekdays where the air feels heavy and clings to you. I'd fallen down a video game rabbit hole, surfaced hours later, and I realized 2 things. 1, it was obscenely late, and 2, I'd completely forgotten to eat dinner. A quick, desperate scan of the kitchen confirmed the worst. Nothing. Damn it. My only hope was the 24-hour McDonald's drive-thru down the road. It's maybe a 10-minute walk, mostly.
Listen, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all this, but don't listen, y'all. That drive-thru at McDonald's, I used to work at McDonald's, man. Them people be lazy. Listen, if you want to eat something, you got a better. Listen, man, you got a better chance of eating that Waffle House than McDonald's, bro.
Through quiet suburban streets that feel almost unnervingly still at that hour. Coat on, I headed into the pre-dawn gloom. Habit took over, and I immediately stuck in my earphones, scrolling through my phone to catch up on the messages and notifications I'd blissfully ignored for the past several hours. In hindsight, I know exactly how that looks. Headphones in, face lit by a phone screen, completely oblivious to the world at 4 a.m. Prime target material, basically. I was about halfway there when I had registered movement just behind me. I glanced back. There was a guy swallowed by an oversized hoodie riding a bicycle. Except it wasn't a normal bike. It was painfully obviously a child's pink bicycle. The tiny frame looked ridiculous underneath him. He wasn't going anywhere specific, just doing slow wide loops on the empty street, always ending up slightly behind me. Now, I've lived in London for about 3 years. You see weird stuff. It's part of the background noise. My default programming kicked in. Head down, keep walking. Don't make eye contact. He'll get bored eventually. You know, standard operating procedure for navigating the city's low-level strangeness. But then he wasn't behind me anymore. He smoothly cycled up right alongside me, matching my pace. The ignore it strategy suddenly felt very thin. He was muttering something. It was clear he wanted my attention. Reluctantly, I pulled out one earbud, still walking, trying for casual indifference. My automatic defense mechanism fired off before I even properly heard him. "I'm sorry, I don't have any change." That's when I made the mistake of actually looking at him. He wasn't asking for change. His eyes locked onto mine, and there was a hard, focused intensity there that immediately set off alarm bells. My gaze flickered down. His right hand was shoved deep into the front pocket of his hoodie, pushing the fabric outwards. Oh, It wasn't a slow dawning realization, more like a sudden plunge into ice water. The casual weirdness evaporated, replaced by cold, sharp-edged fear. That's when I properly registered his words, spoken low but clear. "Give me your phone." My feet kept moving, seemingly on autopilot, but the rest of me felt frozen. My brain felt like it was buffering, trying to process the demand against the very real possibility of what was in that pocket. Is he bluffing? Is that a knife? Is this phone I literally just got and definitely can't afford to replace, worth getting stabbed over? The mental calculus was frantic and terrifying. We were still moving forward side by side in this bizarre, terrifying mobile standoff. Me staring straight ahead, hyper aware of him right beside me and my mind racing. And then a sound. The distinct rumble of a car engine growing louder. Headlights swept across the end of the street, illuminating the junction just yards ahead. A brief moment of blinding light. I shot a look back at the guy on the tiny pink bike. The thought flashed. Run! Make a break for the car, for the light. But before the thought could even translate into action, he abruptly swerved. He pushed off hard on the tiny pedals, cycling rapidly down the street, disappearing back into the shadows as quickly as he'd appeared. I just stood there for a second, heart hammering against my ribs. Then the next thought hit me. Crap, I still have to walk home. Needless to say, the McDonald's craving vanished instantly. On the way back, the headphones stayed off, and my phone stayed deep in my pocket, clutched in my hand. I also gave the quiet suburban streets a wide berth. Instead, I took the long way round, sticking to the main A road. It's noisy, choked with fumes even at this hour, and the pavement is basically a narrow, neglected strip inches away from speeding traffic. It felt horrible, but infinitely safer. The constant stream of headlights, the drone of engines. It was unpleasant, but it was a presence. Company of a sort. Thankfully, the rest of the walk was uneventful. No more unexpected cyclists emerged from the dark. But yeah, I'm just really glad that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Guy on a tiny pink bike at 4 a.m. demanding my phone. Hopefully I don't ever encounter you again.
Naomi just discovered.
It's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Bro, is that me live? Oh, that's an old video. The real reason I quit hacking for good, I don't know what I said. That's all you can. I ain't gonna smoke with that. I say you get arrested 5 times. How you get arrested 5 times in a row?
Second, 2007, 18-year-old Kelsey Smith went shopping alone. She had just graduated from high school 9 days earlier and wanted to buy a 6-month anniversary present for her boyfriend, John. However, what was meant to be a quick, uneventful shopping trip instead turned into a tragedy. Though nothing seemed out of place at first. Kelsey left her home in Overland Park, Kansas at around 6:30 p.m. and reached the Target near Oak Park Mall without any trouble about 30 minutes later. She even called her mother shortly after arriving at the store to ask where she could find gift boxes. Unfortunately, this was the last conversation anyone ever had with her. Her family grew concerned when more than an hour passed and she still hadn't returned home. There was no message from her about some unexpected delay and her phone was going straight to voicemail.
Hi guys, it's Kelsey. Obviously, I can't come to the phone right now. Leave me a message. Bye.
Kelsey was the kind of person who would call her parents even if she was just a few minutes late, so for her to disappear like this was highly unusual. Around the same time, John also showed up at Kelsey's house to pick her up for their date. Unfortunately, he didn't know anything about her whereabouts either. Fearing the worst, her family filed a missing person report. Meanwhile, her sister and John started looking for her around town, desperately hoping that she was just stranded somewhere due to something minor like car trouble. And while they finally found a lead, it raised more questions than it answered. They were searching the area surrounding the target when they spotted her car parked outside the Macy's on the opposite side of the Oak Park Mall about half a mile from her last known location. This was already strange enough on its own. However, the most concerning part was the condition they found it in. It was fully unlocked, and the only thing missing from it besides Kelsey herself was her phone. All of her belongings, including her purse and the gift she bought for John hours earlier, were still in the car, which begged the question, what could have possibly caused her to abandon her car in this state? Fortunately, Macy's had a CCTV camera pointed at the parking lot, allowing investigators to acquire the footage and analyze it for potential clues. However, nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to uncover. CCTV footage showed the car pull into the lot at 9:17 p.m., over 2 hours after Kelsey was last heard from. However, instead of Kelsey, an unknown man wearing a white t-shirt got out of the driver's side door and quickly fled the scene. Unfortunately, the footage was too blurry to see any identifying features besides his clothes. What investigators didn't know at the time was the color of his shirt would prove crucial in this investigation. But for now, the focus was on finding Kelsey before it was too late. The next step in their investigation was to analyze the last known footage of Kelsey shopping at the Target. Unfortunately, this footage didn't show anything unusual, at least at first glance. Target's surveillance system had captured her entire shopping trip. Everything from entering the building, to calling her mother, buying the gift, and then leaving in her car. However, while doing a frame-by-frame analysis, one of the detectives noticed a tiny anomaly near the end of the footage. As she was about to get in her car, the camera captured what looked like a man in a white t-shirt running toward her at the last second. There was a strong chance that this was the same man who would later abandon her car in the Macy's parking lot hours later. With this newfound knowledge, investigators watched the footage again, and this time they noticed something even more horrific. As Kelsey was browsing through the store, a man in a white t-shirt could be seen stalking her through every aisle. He kept following her.
Yo, that's a scary thing, bro. Listen, bro, to all the women who watching, right? Please, y'all, please watch our surroundings, bro. Please watch our surroundings. I'm not telling y'all don't go nowhere by yourself. Y'all always can go places by yourself. Always go places by yourself. But please watch our surroundings, man.
Her until she was about to pay for her items and then rushed out of the store before her, likely so he could ambush her as she was getting in her car. Fortunately, the entrance camera managed to capture the only somewhat usable image of his face, allowing investigators to set up a tip line for anyone who knew him. Another camera also captured the make and model of his truck when he arrived at the store minutes earlier. This narrowed down the search considerably. All they needed now was information on who this man was. And after sifting through hundreds of false reports, investigators finally received a tip from someone claiming to be his neighbor. They recognized his face and truck on TV and immediately called the police. Not long after, officers arrested 26-year-old Edwin Hall at his home. He was getting ready to leave the state for a supposed vacation with his wife and kids. Fortunately, officers were able to reach him before he fled. Though, to their surprise, Edwin confessed to being at the location without any pushback and even confirmed that he was the one in the CCTV footage. But he also denied having anything to do with Kelsey. Luckily, his lie did not last long. Investigators had actually found a single unknown fingerprint on the seatbelt latch of Kelsey's car when searching through it earlier. However, it didn't match any print they had on record. But with Edwin's arrest, they were able to take his fingerprints, which turned out to be a perfect match for the one found in Kelsey's car. The same day, police also found Kelsey's remains near a lake in Missouri, about 20 miles from the Target. None of which would have been possible if Kelsey's last shopping trip hadn't been captured by Target's surveillance system. Edwin was charged with the kidnapping and murder of Kelsey Smith and stood trial in July 2008. He pled guilty to all charges to avoid the death penalty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I...
Yeah, man, rest in peace, Kelsey, man. That's so sad, bro.
On the night of Valentine's Day 2017, a home security camera installed outside the house of 35-year-old Ellie Tran showed her returning home from work and pulling into the driveway, unaware that a dangerous stalker was hiding just outside the camera's view, waiting for the right opportunity to attack. As soon as she got out of the car, the stalker lunged at her from behind the bushes and tackled her to the ground before running away on foot just seconds later. And while Ellie looked mostly unharmed at first, the attacker had actually injected her with a cyanide-filled syringe while she was on the ground, which, for those who don't know, is one of the deadliest poisons on Earth. What made this situation even worse was the fact that this wasn't a crazed stalker or a random serial killer. Instead, this was 30-year-old Joseph Merlino III, Ellie's ex-boyfriend, and someone she had a 2-year-old daughter with. The two got into a relationship sometime in late 2013.
Bro, you trying to take out your baby mama like that? You know what I'm saying? That's harsh.
And things started off quite well. However, Joseph started becoming aggressive when Ellie became pregnant and invited her parents to live with her. You see, Ellie had actually immigrated to the US from Vietnam before meeting Joseph. She wanted to build a stable life in the US with Joseph and their child, but she also wanted her parents to be a part of this new life. So, in 2014, she flew her parents to the US and gave them a place at her and Joseph's home. This became a major point of contention between the couple, with Joseph becoming more and more aggressive with each passing day. Things escalated to the point of physical violence by mid-2016, forcing Ellie to break up with Joseph and get a restraining order against him. She also kept full custody of their daughter. However, Ellie knew that Joseph wasn't going to leave her alone so easily. She lived in constant fear that he would one day show up and take their daughter from her, which was the only reason she installed security cameras both inside and outside her home. But even Ellie couldn't have predicted the lengths Joseph was willing to go for revenge. Immediately after the attack on February 14, Ellie tried to get inside and call 911. She didn't know exactly what had happened, but she knew he had injected something into her leg. But she passed away before making that call. Luckily, her mother saw everything, including Joseph's face as he was running away. She called emergency services and Ellie was rushed to a nearby hospital. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Cyanide prevents cells from using oxygen, which is needed to keep them alive. The cells can no longer produce energy, and vital organs like the heart and brain start failing rapidly, leading to a state of internal suffocation, even if the person is breathing. By the time Ellie reached the hospital, she had already suffered severe brain damage. She was pronounced brain dead shortly afterward, forcing her parents to make the painful decision of cutting off her life support. The home security footage, alongside the statement from Ellie's mother, allowed investigators to zero in on Joseph and arrest him just 3 days later on February 17. They also searched his home and found several other dangerous items like guns and materials for making explosives. However, despite the evidence, Joseph tried to claim that he was in a different city on the night of the murder and that the person in the home security footage was someone else. However, the prosecution didn't believe any of it. Phone records proved that his statement about being in a different city was a complete lie. More importantly, prosecutors were able to prove that the murder was fully premeditated. Forensic analysis of his internet traffic revealed that leading up to the crime, he had searched terms like, how many milligrams of cyanide will kill you? What if cyanide gets in the bloodstream? And what if cyanide gets injected? Investigators were also able to track down the people he purchased cyanide and the syringe from on marketplaces like eBay and Etsy. However, the most damning evidence proving his sinister motives came from an incident that happened back in December 2016. According to Ellie's mother, Ellie was coming home from work one day when suddenly a man approached her and threw an unknown chemical on her. Thankfully, the chemical only burned her hair and caused minor burns on her scalp, allowing her to recover without any permanent injuries. Ellie later told her mother that she believed the attacker was Joseph. This showed that Joseph was coming up with ways of harming Ellie even before the lethal attack. Joseph, however, stayed adamant that he was innocent and even went on a hunger strike for a few months before his trial. Prosecutors believe he did this to lose a lot of weight and look significantly different from how he looked in the security camera footage, possibly hoping to trick the jury into handing out an innocent verdict. Unfortunately for him, this plan failed as well. He stood trial in December 2018 and was sentenced to life in prison. On the 12th of May 2022, a government inspector was doing a land survey in the wooded area surrounding the National Guard Armory in Wadesboro, North Carolina. But partway through the survey, the inspector discovered the last thing he was expecting behind the armory, a complete human skeleton. The only other items nearby were a black top and a pair of women's leggings, indicating that this skeleton likely belonged to a woman. Further inspection of the remains also confirmed that she had likely passed away somewhere between 9 months and a year ago. Now, this was a major discovery, especially because it happened in a not-so-secluded area near a government building and a high school. There was also a strong chance that this person either got lost in the woods or was placed there by someone trying to hide their crime. Either way, it would have been best to make the finding public and enlist the public's help in identifying the person. But for unknown reasons, the Wadesboro Police Department did not report it publicly. It wasn't until January 2024 that this case received its first major update. Someone from the Wadesboro area came forward with disturbing images their trail camera had captured back on August 21, 2021, close to the armory. They showed a woman, possibly in her mid to late 30s, walking alone in the forest very early in the morning. She was barefoot and was struggling to walk while using a stick for support. Her leggings and support stick were also wet up to her knees, suggesting she might have walked through the creek just south of the trail cam. More importantly, she was wearing the same top and leggings the surveyor would find alongside the skeletal remains about 9 months later. However, while the trail cam footage gave a face to the remains, investigators were still no closer to identifying her. She didn't match any missing person reports in the area, leaving investigators with no clear leads to follow. With no other option, authorities uploaded the trail cam images alongside any information they had on the National Missing Persons database, which turned out to be the correct move. Not long after the case gained traction online, the woman was identified as Amber Ray Johnston, who was 36 years old when she went missing back in August 2021. This trail cam footage was the last time she was seen alive. Her mother recognized her after coming across the images online. A DNA test in March 2025 also confirmed that the skeletal remains belonged to her daughter, Amber. The only question that remained now was what happened to Amber? How did she end up in Wadesboro, North Carolina, over 2,200 miles from her home in Bullhead City, Arizona? Unfortunately, the answer to this question would turn out to be far more complex than the investigators might have expected. Amber's story began in Bullhead City, Arizona, where she was in an emotionally and physically...
From Arizona all the way to North Carolina? Oh my goodness, bro. Yo, that's like if you stay in Florida, bro. And you like... Oh, no, man.
Abusive relationship with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Jarrett Ward. Both Jarrett and Amber also had a severe substance abuse problem, which only made their relationship worse. They eventually broke up in the summer of 2021, and Jarrett went back to his hometown in South Carolina. During this time, authorities had their first strange encounter with Amber. On the 8th of August, at around 8 a.m., she apparently went swimming with someone she had just met. He stayed behind on the water's edge while Amber dove in, leaving her ID and clothes behind in his care. He went back to get a life jacket for himself, but when he returned, Amber was nowhere to be seen. Assuming that she might have drowned, he contacted the police, who began a search and rescue mission immediately. However, just hours into the search, police received a call from Amber's landlady stating that she returned home safe. Then, in mid-August, she got on a Greyhound bus and started traveling east. It's unclear if she was going back to her mother's place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or if she was planning on visiting Jarrett in South Carolina. However, she didn't reach either of these destinations. Witnesses saw her purchasing a bus ticket in Winston-Salem, North Carolina on August 17, 2021, and that was the last time Amber was ever seen alive. The last ping from her phone came from Charlotte on August 19, 2021. 3 days after that, she was captured by the trail camera in Wadesboro, over 90 miles from Winston-Salem, before disappearing completely until her remains were discovered 9 months later. However, how she reached Wadesboro or why she went there in the first place remains a mystery to this day. The most puzzling part of her case is that authorities still haven't considered any foul play in her disappearance and death, even though there are countless signs strongly pointing towards that possibility. The biggest of which are her SNAP food stamps and credit card, both of which were used by other people, including Jarrett, after her supposed death. She had actually told her mother about Jarrett stealing her credit card to purchase drugs in the past. So, him somehow getting a hold of it and using it for online purchases after her death should have made him the #1 suspect. Unfortunately, Jarrett passed away himself from an overdose in 2022, leaving investigators with no lead to follow. The second strange sign is a travel video that was posted to her Facebook account on August 18, showing the bus traveling through Birmingham, Alabama, even though phone records showed that she was in Charlotte, North Carolina the next day. It's possible someone else posted this older travel video on her account to throw off anyone looking for her, but there's no way for us to confirm or deny that theory. It also makes little to no sense for Amber to get lost and lose her life in a patch of woods that's surrounded by a government building, a high school, a hospital, and several restaurants and convenience stores all within walking distance. Lastly, her lack of proper clothing and use of a walking stick in the trail cam footage also points to something far more sinister than her just getting lost in the woods. Unfortunately, with the primary suspect now passed away himself, the truth of what happened to Amber in August 2021 will likely never come out.
Rest in peace, Amber, man. That's sad, man.
On the morning of January 25, 2019, Elizabeth Barraza, known to her friends as just Liz, woke up early to set up a garage sale outside her suburban home in Tomball, Texas. She lived there with her husband Sergio, and the two had been happily married for nearly 5 years. Their 5th anniversary was also just a few days away, and they had planned to spend the occasion visiting Universal and Disney parks in Florida. They were both massive fans of franchises like Harry Potter and Star Wars, so this was the perfect plan for their special day. Tragically, Liz never lived to see this day she had been looking forward to. As she was setting up the garage sale, security cameras from around the neighborhood captured a black truck driving in and parking a few lots down from Liz's house. The driver of this truck then got out, approached Liz in her driveway, and started talking to her about something at around 6:58 a.m. Her doorbell camera recorded her saying good morning to this person in a way that made it seem like she didn't know who they were. But then, just a few seconds later, unprompted, the person took out a firearm and opened fire, shooting Liz 4 different times before running back to their truck and driving away. 3 different neighbors called 911 seconds after hearing the gunshots. First responders arrived just a few minutes later and rushed Liz to a nearby hospital. Unfortunately, the damage was too severe, resulting in her passing away shortly after arriving. The video footage captured the whole incident, but it wasn't clear enough to pick up any identifying features. However, as the investigation went on, the biggest issue that confused the authorities was the complete lack of a logical motive. First of all, this wasn't a robbery or something along those lines. The killer didn't take anything and just ran off after committing the crime. More importantly, the way they made sure to shoot her one more time after she had already fallen to the ground made it seem like this was a deliberate hit, almost as if someone had sent a hitman after her. However, investigators couldn't find any reason why someone would do that. Everyone who knew Liz described her as the brightest person they knew. She wanted nothing more than to see others happy and even spent her free time cosplaying as a stormtrooper and visiting children's hospitals to cheer them up. Security footage from around the neighborhood also showed the killer driving around her home and staying in nearby parking lots hours before the crime. The timing of the crime was also quite suspicious. It happened just 4 minutes after Sergio had left for work. Whoever the killer was, they knew the couple's schedules. Liz had also not told anyone about the garage sale beforehand, so there was no way for some random person to know that she would be alone outside at that time. This precise timing pretty much ruled out the possibility of a serial killer taking advantage of the opportunity, bringing authorities back to square one. The only possible lead they had was her husband, Sergio, and for a good reason. Spouses are often involved in these types of murders, especially when infidelity is involved. Putting Sergio as the mastermind could also explain how the killer knew about the garage sale and the exact time Sergio would leave for work. However, after thorough investigation, the police found no evidence of Sergio's involvement. Their marriage was simply too perfect and problem-free for him to have any reason to take her life, leaving the mystery of Elizabeth Barraza's death completely unsolved to this day.
Oh my goodness, bro. I can't imagine losing my wife, man.
February 2021 started off as a particularly cold month for the residents of the small town of Plains Township, Pennsylvania. A blizzard the night before had deposited over 30 inches of snow across the region, forcing most of its residents to shovel snow from the
ever be a blizzard, bro. I ain't driving in the snow.
Driveways if they wanted to get their cars out. However, for a local couple, 50-year-old James Goy and 48-year-old Lisa Goy, this simple activity proved lethal when they got into an argument with their neighbor across the street named Jeffrey Spade. The fight had started with Jeffrey accusing the couple of dumping snow too close to his house. A home security camera outside James and Lisa's home captured the argument as it escalated, with both groups hurling increasingly demeaning insults and curses at each other. In the heat of the moment, Jeffrey threatened the couple's lives before returning to his home. Normally, this would have been where the argument ended. However, Jeffrey had something much more drastic in mind. Seconds later, he came back with a firearm and opened fire, hitting the couple multiple times. He kept shooting until he ran out of ammunition. But after seeing that both James and Lisa were still alive, he went back inside and returned with a different firearm and took their lives at point-blank range. By the time first responders arrived at the scene, both Lisa and James had already passed away. But that wasn't all. Police entered Jeffrey's home to arrest him for his crime. However, Jeffrey, understanding the drastic, irreversible decision he had just made, likely didn't want to spend the rest of his life behind bars. So, after ending James and Lisa, he ended everything for himself as well, ending the investigation before it even began. On the morning of February 12, 1993, Denise Bolger was visiting the New Strand Shopping Center in Bootle, England with her 2-year-old son, James. At one point during shopping, she let go of James's hand for a split second to pay, but when she looked back, James had vanished without making a sound. In a panic, she immediately began looking
y'all gonna be able to finish the video. I got my clothes.
for him, hoping that he was just wandering around the shopping center. However, James was nowhere to be found. She also called the police, who arrived within minutes and started searching for James in the streets surrounding the area. Over the next 2 days, more than 100 officers searched the streets of Bootle while helicopter teams searched across the canal. Unfortunately, despite their combined efforts, they didn't find a single clue that could lead them to James. However, what looked like a simple missing child case at first would turn out to be one of the most disturbing crimes of the 20th century. The truth came out on February 14th when a group of young boys discovered James's remains on a railway track 2.5 miles from the shopping center. His body had been sliced in half by a passing train. However, that was only the tip of the iceberg. A later autopsy report revealed that James had a total of 42 injuries across his body, including 10 skull fractures and much more. While the graphic details of James's state are too gruesome for YouTube, they can only be described as an act of pure, inhuman cruelty. Someone had spent a long time inflicting pain on the poor boy before he inevitably passed away from the injuries. However, the most shocking revelation of the case was yet to come. With the discovery of James's remains, the focus then shifted to uncovering and catching the person or persons responsible. Fortunately, the shopping center had CCTV cameras around the facility, and after scouring through the footage, investigators finally found their first solid lead. One of the cameras had captured the culprit taking James out of the shopping center, but it wasn't an adult as most would have suspected. Instead, James was seen being led away by 2 strikingly young boys. Footage from other cameras showed the 2 boys just hanging around the shopping center and shoplifting things like candy, toys, and paint. Then, at 3:42 p.m., they guided James away from his mother and took him outside. But there was no way for the investigators to identify the 2 boys on their own, so they released some of the enhanced footage on TV, resulting in a woman recognizing them and calling the station. On February 18, 6 days after James's murder, police arrested 10-year-old John Venables and Robert Thompson from their homes. What followed was an extensive 20-hour-long interrogation where the 2 initially tried to deny everything, but after some pressure, John buckled and confessed, stating, "I killed James, I did it. We did it. Will you tell his mom I'm sorry?" Police also interviewed around 38 witnesses who saw James with John and Robert that evening to get a full picture of what happened. John and Robert skipped school on February 12th and went to the shopping center with the express purpose of abducting a child. As one of them later confessed, they were planning to take James near a busy road and push him into oncoming traffic. But somewhere between taking him from his mother and going out, their plan took a turn for the worst. They took him to the railway track instead. Once alone, they forced James to endure the unimaginable until he finally passed away. They then dragged his remains onto the train tracks to make his death look like an accident before going back home. Because they demonstrated a clear understanding of the wrongness of their crimes, John and Robert faced a full adult trial in November 1993, and the evidence against them was overwhelming. Investigators found drops of James's blood on their clothes, imprints of their shoes on his body, and much, much more, leaving no doubt about their guilt. They were found guilty and became the youngest convicted murderers of the 20th century. Though, despite their adult trial, their sentence was still in line with their age. They were sentenced to indefinite detention with a minimum of 8 years behind bars. After 8 years, in 2001, John Venables was released with a new identity to protect him from public retribution. But he has been repeatedly recalled to prison for breaching his parole conditions and was found to still pose a danger to children. Robert Thompson remains free on license and has not been known to reoffend since his initial release.
Wait, what happened on the last one? I kind of want to go back. Let me go back. I wasn't paying attention.
Surrounding the area. Over the next 2 days, more than a of James Bootle, England, of 19. Denise Bolger was visiting the New Strand shopping center in Bootle, England with her 2-year-old son, James. At one point during shopping, she let go of James's hand for a split second to pay, but when she looked back, James had vanished without making a sound. In a panic, she immediately began looking for him, hoping that he was just wandering around the shopping center. However, James was nowhere to be found. She also called the police, who arrived within minutes and started searching for James in the streets surrounding the area. Over the next 2 days, more than 100 officers searched the streets of Bootle while helicopter teams searched across the canal. Unfortunately, despite their combined efforts, they didn't find a single clue that could lead them to James. However, what looked like a simple missing child case at first would turn out to be one of the most disturbing crimes of the 20th century. The truth came out on February 14th when a group of young boys discovered James's remains on a railway track 2.5 miles from the shopping center. His body had been sliced in half by a passing train. However, that was only the tip of the iceberg. A later autopsy report revealed that James had a total of 42 injuries across his body, including 10 skull fractures and much more. While the graphic details of James's state are too gruesome for YouTube, they can only be described as an act of pure, inhuman cruelty. Someone had spent a long time inflicting pain on the poor boy before he inevitably passed away from the injuries. However, the most shocking revelation of the case was yet to come. With the discovery of James's remains, the focus then shifted to uncovering and catching the person or persons responsible. Fortunately, the shopping center had CCTV cameras around the facility, and after scouring through the footage, investigators finally found their first solid lead. One of the cameras had captured the culprit taking James out of the shopping center, but it wasn't an adult as most would have suspected. Instead, James was seen being led away by 2 strikingly young boys. Footage from other cameras showed the 2 boys just hanging around the shopping center and shoplifting things like candy, toys, and paint. Then, at 3:42 p.m., they guided James away from his mother and took him outside. But there was no way for the investigators to identify the 2 boys on their own, so they released some of the enhanced footage on TV, resulting in a woman recognizing them and calling the station. On February 18, 6 days after James's murder, police arrested 10-year-old John Venables and Robert Thompson from their homes. What followed was an extensive 20-hour-long interrogation where the 2 initially tried to deny everything, but after some pressure, John buckled and confessed, stating, "I killed James, I did it. We did it. Will you tell his mom I'm sorry?" Police also interviewed around 38 witnesses who saw James with John and Robert that evening to get a full picture of what happened. John and Robert skipped school on February 12th and went to the shopping center with the express purpose of abducting a child. As one of them later confessed, they were planning to take James near a busy road and push him into oncoming traffic. But somewhere between taking him from his mother and going out, their plan took a turn for the worst. They took him to the railway track instead. Once alone, they forced James to endure the unimaginable until he finally passed away. They then dragged his remains onto the train tracks to make his death look like an accident before going back home. Because they demonstrated a clear understanding of the wrongness of their crimes, John and Robert faced a full adult trial in November 1993, and the evidence against them was overwhelming. Investigators found drops of James's blood on their clothes, imprints of their shoes on his body, and much, much more, leaving no doubt about their guilt. They were found guilty and became the youngest convicted murderers of the 20th century. Though, despite their adult trial, their sentence was still in line with their age. They were sentenced to indefinite detention with a minimum of 8 years behind bars. After 8 years, in 2001, John Venables was released with a new identity to protect him from public retribution. But he has been repeatedly recalled to prison for breaching his parole conditions and was found to still pose a danger to children. Robert Thompson remains free on license and has not been known to reoffend since his initial release.
Okay, I just want to see that. We on YouTube right now, so let's watch this.
Hi, I'm JT.
Okay, this is YouTubers. That's messed up right there, man.
Dan Eaton was a 59-year-old American scientist who was working as a professor of molecular biology in Dresden, Germany. A big part of her job at this institute was to travel around the world and hold conferences on the latest developments in her field. In July of 2019, she traveled to the scenic Greek island of Crete for one of these conferences, not knowing that this was going to be her last, and that the person responsible for her end would be caught because of his videos on YouTube. The incident happened on July 2nd, when, after a conference, Suzanne spent time with her peers and played the public piano in the venue's lobby before saying her goodbyes and heading out to her hotel in the afternoon. Sadly, this was the last time anyone saw Suzanne alive. Her coworkers noticed her absence when she didn't show up for the second conference scheduled for 6 p.m. that evening. It wasn't like her to skip events out of the blue. Something wasn't right. A fact that became increasingly clear when over 24 hours passed without anyone hearing from her. So, on July 3rd, her colleagues called the police to check on her, hoping she was simply sick or something similar. However, when officers arrived at her hotel room, no one answered the door. They acquired a spare key from the hotel management and went inside, only to find the room completely empty and undisturbed. All of Suzanne's belongings were also still in the room. The only things missing were her running shoes and a set of exercise clothes. Those who knew her immediately understood what this meant. You see, in addition to her academic prowess and piano expertise, Suzanne was also an athlete at heart. She was a double black belt in Taekwondo, and despite her age, loved going on a run every day. Knowing this helped investigators narrow down what might have happened to her. Put simply, she likely went on a run soon after returning to her hotel on July 2nd, and something went wrong after that. She wasn't super familiar with the area, and to make matters worse, the weather was uncomfortably hot that afternoon. There was a strong possibility she collapsed from the heat or something else along those lines. After putting this together, the Crete police immediately dispatched a search and rescue team in the area surrounding her hotel and around popular running trails. Her family even traveled to Crete and put a €50,000 reward for anyone who could help find Suzanne. Unfortunately, Suzanne was nowhere to be found. That is until 5 days later, on July 8th, when 2 young men were exploring one of the abandoned World War II Nazi bunkers scattered across Crete. Around 200 meters in, one of them noticed a piece of burlap covering something on the ground. They picked it up from one end to see what was underneath, and what they found was the aftermath of one of the most horrific crimes in Crete's recent history. The burlap was covering the bloody remains of Suzanne Eaton. A later autopsy report discovered that Suzanne had several broken ribs, multiple fractures throughout her body, a missing ear, and much, much more. Whatever happened to her certainly was not an accident. The investigators began searching for clues, and fortunately it didn't take long for them to make their first major breakthrough: a set of car tire tracks leading up to the entrance of the bunker. Analyzing these tracks allowed investigators to find the car responsible for transporting Suzanne's remains to that bunker. It belonged to 27-year-old Yanis Paraskakis, a local sheep farmer. But when questioned, Yanis feigned ignorance and claimed that him driving through that area on that day was nothing more than a coincidence. He went as far as to say that he didn't even know about the existence of that bunker, a lie that would eventually lead to his arrest. You see, Yanis had a dream to become a successful YouTuber. He started a channel with his own name in 2012 and began posting videos. However, if you go to his channel today, all you'll find are 3 videos of him performing an ancient Chinese martial art and meditation technique called Qigong. That's because a couple days before Suzanne's body was discovered, Yanis deleted every other video on his channel. And once authorities recovered some of these deleted videos, it became clear why. You see, most of these deleted videos involved Yanis exploring abandoned World War II bunkers, including the one where Suzanne's remains were discovered. This contradiction gave the authorities the go-ahead to formally arrest him on July 15. It also allowed them to investigate him further, and the evidence they discovered was overwhelming. As it turned out, the land where this bunker was located was owned by Yanis's family. Investigators also found traces of Suzanne's blood in his car's trunk. When confronted with this evidence, Yanis cracked and told the whole story. According to him, he saw Suzanne running down the road and something came over him. He hit her with his car twice before putting her in his car, driving to the bunker, and ending her life there. He later changed his story to where he was compelled to commit this crime by a demon. Unfortunately for him, the jury didn't buy this one bit and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole in 2020. Now, this should have been the end of Yanis' story, but from what I've seen, there's more to his actions than just this one crime he was convicted of. The thing is, Yanis presented his vile act as a crime of opportunity, something he did completely out of nowhere. However, there's evidence to suggest that Yanis might be a full-blown serial killer. For instance, he was apparently detained by the police twice before, once for arson and once for animal cruelty. both of which are well-known early behaviors of serial killers. After his arrest, several other women also came forward, testifying that he had tried to run them over with his car as well in the past. So, Suzanne was more than likely not his first victim. However, the most solid evidence against Giannis is in one of the deleted videos he uploaded to YouTube. In it, we can see him showing some very human-looking bones scattered throughout the same bunker Suzanne was discovered in.
What?
These bones were never discovered by the authorities, suggesting they might have been removed by Giannis to hide evidence. But what makes this truly disturbing is what his friend says at one point in the same video. This roughly translates into, "Is this where you left that old guy?" Insinuating that Giannis had disposed of one of his previous victims in the same bunker before. And if that is the case, one can only wonder how many other people Giannis has killed over the years.
Hey Meta, take a video.
Simply Manic 6075 was a YouTube channel owned and operated by 24-year-old Samantha Wolford. She lived in the small community of Monticello, Texas with her husband Ernest Lee Ibarra, aka Ernie, and their 5 children. She usually made videos about her day-to-day life and other random topics. Her story began in 2008 when she was at the lowest point of her life. She'd recently become the single mother of a pair of twins and had no love interest in her life. That's when she met Ernie at a local tattoo shop, and the two hit it off right from the get-go, eventually getting in a relationship and starting a family together. In one of her videos, Samantha described the day she met Ernie as the happiest day of her life. Together, they were blessed with 3 more children, including 1 more pair of twins. Raising 5 kids was a challenge, but Ernie made it work by taking a second job in pizza delivery. So, while they had endured tough times together, Samantha, Ernie, and their 5 children appeared to be the perfect loving family. However, while being a stay-at-home mother was all she could do at the time, Samantha still had a dream of becoming a famous actress one day.
I've always wanted to be an actress. I think it is so much fun. I've been extras in movies. I've had small parts in like short films. It is so much fun and it is so beautiful. It is one of the most amazing forms of art ever to be able to express yourself that way. I think it's amazing.
So, in October 2010, she created her YouTube channel and started posting videos, hoping to become a popular YouTuber and fulfill her dream on the internet instead. And things were going surprisingly okay in the beginning. Samantha would post new videos whenever she had something new to say. And while most of her videos struggled to get past 100 views at the time, the few viewers she had were enough to keep her going. But as time passed on, her passion for making videos turned into an obsession. She started spending more of her time on making videos than her family, putting even more pressure on an already stressed out Ernie. Around 2014, she also started accusing Ernie of hurting her in her videos, hinting at just how bad their relationship was going. But then, after posting a seemingly random video in March of 2014, Samantha mysteriously vanished from the internet. Maybe she lost interest in YouTube or just wanted to focus on her family again. No one knew exactly why she quit so abruptly. Then, on the 20th of February 2015, viewers finally received the update they were waiting for. Unfortunately, it was far more tragic than anyone could have imagined. It started with the Texas police receiving a call from one of Samantha's aunts asking them to save her niece's life.
Cause County 911, what's your emergency? I have a home invasion. My niece is tied up. I am at the verge of untying my niece at this particular moment. Okay, she's tied up. She is tied up and gagged. And gagged? Is that what you said? Ma'am. Is there anybody else there? Where are the kids? We have 5 small infants asleep.
Apparently, 3 masked men broke into their home in the middle of the night and attacked the couple while they were asleep. The intruders then tied Samantha in her bedroom and after hitting him with a gun a few times, kidnapped Ernie. Samantha somehow managed to get her ties loose enough to call her aunt, who then contacted the police after arriving at Samantha's home herself. By the time officers arrived, Samantha's aunt had set her free from the restraints. The kids were fortunately safe as well. However, what made this whole situation strange was that the intruders didn't take anything else from their home besides Ernie. And from the people who knew him personally, Ernie wasn't the type of guy to make enemies with dangerous people. Put simply, investigators sensed something fishy with the whole situation. But all that paled in comparison to the main objective, which was to save Ernie as soon as possible. Unfortunately, Samantha didn't know anything that could give investigators their first clue. With no other option, the officers took Samantha to the station for further questioning, hoping to extract any useful information they could from her. But what none of them expected was that Samantha would change up her story completely after entering the interrogation room. Where before she didn't know anything about the assailants, now she had the name of a potential suspect, John Rebel. As Samantha's story goes, she was talking to her friend about Ernie's supposed attacks on Samantha, when suddenly a man with the pseudonym John Rebel overheard their conversation and started talking about how a man shouldn't treat a woman that way and that he was going to handle the situation. Well, as it turned out, the name John Rebel actually belonged to someone, a man named Jonathan Sanford. The police found and arrested John not long after Samantha gave out his name, right alongside his two accomplices, Jose Ponce and Octavius Rhymes. Surprisingly, Jonathan put up little to no resistance and immediately confessed to kidnapping Ernie. He also confirmed the worst possible outcome, that by the time the police got involved, Ernie was already dead. The three took him to a secluded forest and executed him with one shot to the back of his head. However, even after learning all this, one question remained. Why? Why would three men who didn't even know Ernie kidnap him from his home like that? Every answer to this question pointed back to Samantha, who kept denying any involvement. Even if the investigators ignored her suddenly remembering the perpetrator's name, there were several other suspicious aspects to her story. Like, how was she able to untie herself enough to call her aunt? Why didn't any of her neighbors hear the break-in? And why were the kids all sleeping in the same room when usually they're scattered throughout the house? It wasn't long before investigators uncovered undeniable evidence of her direct involvement. This included instruction messages she sent to Octavius when the officers were trying to call Ernie's phone, which he had on him. These read, "Kill his phone, shut that down, ditch phone, move." There was no doubt about it at this point. Samantha was in colluding with her husband's killers. And as the investigation went on, the real story came out as well. Samantha had apparently become addicted to the idea of becoming a famous YouTuber, and her neglect of the kids became a constant source of fighting between the couple. But instead of resolving the issue like a responsible adult, Samantha colluded with her friend's boyfriend to hatch a cartoonishly evil scheme to get rid of Ernie. They first wanted to plant hard drugs in his car and get him arrested, but later made the heartless decision that taking his life would be much easier. There's also a chance that Samantha went with the murder plan because it would have brought her more attention on YouTube. She was eventually sentenced to 149 years in prison for killing her own husband, leaving her 5 children completely orphaned in the process.
149 years? I ain't never heard that before.
Diana Lovejoy was a successful technical writer living in the town of Carlsbad, California with her husband Greg Mulvihill. However, while her corporate job paid the bills, Diana's true passion was becoming a triathlon athlete and documenting her journey on video, resulting in her eventually starting her own fitness blog called Lovejoy Fitness and a YouTube channel by the name of Heavy DJ. She started this channel all the way back in 2008 and over the years used it to document various parts of her life. From meeting her parents after a long time to going scuba diving with her husband. At one point, she even tried to become a cooking show host of sorts.
Doesn't that smell nice?
Unfortunately, her channel never really took off, forcing. At one point, she even tried to become a cooking show host of sorts.
Oh, don't eat nothing in her pan, bro.
Doesn't that smell nice?
Unfortunately, her channel never really took off, forcing her to eventually cut her losses and move on with her life in March of 2012. Or at least that's what it looked like from the outside. In reality, Diana's reason for abandoning her YouTube channel was kind of wholesome. You see, Diana and Greg had been trying for a baby for years by this point. Tragically, Diana had suffered 8 different miscarriages and was quickly losing hope. But then in September of 2012, the two were blessed with a perfectly healthy baby boy, marking an end to their struggle. However, what should have been a moment of celebration started a downward spiral of lies and betrayals, eventually culminating in an assassination attempt. Things started going downhill when just a few months after the birth of their son, Greg lost his job, leaving Diana as the sole breadwinner. The stress of the previous miscarriages, combined with the crushing weight of having to support a family in an extremely expensive city all on her own, spelled disaster for their marriage. It wasn't long before the two were constantly fighting with each other. Things escalated even further on July 9, 2014, when Greg returned home only to see a police officer waiting for him at the door. The officer explained that Greg wasn't allowed to enter his own home because, as it turned out, Diana had accused him of attacking both her and their son. What followed was a nearly 2-year-long divorce mediation, during which the investigators found no evidence supporting Diana's accusations, allowing Greg to get a 50-50 custody of their son. Diana was also ordered to pay $120,000 as a part of their divorce settlement in late 2015. But before the divorce could be finalized, Greg received a phone call from an anonymous number that changed everything. The voice on the other end claimed to be a private investigator Diana had hired recently. And according to this investigator, he already had solid proof of the attack claims Diana had made against Greg. But for some unknown reason, he wanted to help Greg win the case, so he claimed to have left the documents taped to a power pole located on a small hiking trail near Greg's home. Greg naturally found this whole thing pretty suspicious and decided to take one of his friends with him to the pole on the night of September 4th, 2016. Sadly, despite his suspicions, he failed to grasp the true intentions of the strangely helpful private detective.
Hello, this is 911.
Yeah, my friend has just been shot.
Do you know who shot him?
There's a guy lying down like a sniper.
A sniper? Did you see him at all?
Briefly, we saw the gun, and he shot at us like 6 or 7 times.
When Greg reached the pole, a sniper opened fire on him, shooting him clean through the chest. Fortunately, the bullet missed his heart by mere inches, giving him a second chance at life. By the time the police arrived, the shooter had already fled the crime scene. But a quick survey of the area allowed the investigators to uncover a pair of towels the shooter left behind. Running a DNA test on these towels led to a man named Weldon McDavid, Diana's shooting instructor. Weldon tried to deny any involvement at first, but the evidence against him was overwhelming, as after a thorough search, investigators were able to find another set of the same towels at Diana's place as well. They had also received CCTV footage of Diana buying the burner phone Weldon later used to lure Greg into the secluded area. Most importantly, investigators also found the gun Weldon used on Greg, hidden in the rafters of his garage. Oh, wow. By this point, it was clear that Diana was the one who wanted to get rid of Greg, likely to avoid paying the divorce settlement and keep full custody of her son. Diana and Weldon were arrested for the attempted assassination on Greg Mulvihill and tried for their crimes in November 2017. Both were found guilty, with Diana sentenced to 26 years to life and Weldon to a harsher 50 years to life. The only silver lining in this entire case is that Greg was able to make a full recovery and is now living with his son.
That's good, yeah. He made a full recovery, okay.
The Gunnar Runar 87 channel on YouTube seems oddly wholesome at first glance. It's owned by an Icelandic boy named Gunnar Runar Sigthorsson and contains a single 3.5-minute video of him confessing his feelings to the girl he loves. The title translates to English as My Confession to Hildur. In it, he says things like,
Hún án efa sérstakasta manneskja sem ég nokkuð tímann hitt. Ég verð svo ótrúlega glaður bara að vera nálægt henni. Það þarf ekki meira. Og þetta ætla þér því að ég held sig orðin ástfangin með þér. Listen to her.
However, this seemingly heartfelt love letter turned out to be the key to solving one of the most horrific crimes in recent Icelandic history. And it all led back to Gunnar and the troubled life he had as a child. You see, Gunnar didn't have a mother growing up, resulting in him getting extremely close with his father. However, on the night of September 20th, 1996, when Gunnar was just 9 years old, his father decided to end it all using a gun. What made this already messed up situation even worse was the fact that Gunnar was in the room with his father and witnessed everything. Unsurprisingly, this took a heavy toll on Gunnar's mental health. He withdrew from the world and refused to accept his father's death as reality. Everything seemed hopeless for Gunnar. That is, until primary school, when he met a girl named Hildur and instantly became infatuated with her. He'd admired her throughout school and into adulthood, but never found the courage to make a move, fearing he'd lose his only close friend. However, things changed in 2009 when Hildur got engaged to a man named Hannes. This gave Gunnar the push to do something about his feelings. But given his shy personality, he still couldn't confront Hildur directly. So, in March of 2009, he created a YouTube channel and uploaded his confession on there. Hildur never reciprocated his feelings, but the two remained friends. Even Hannes, Hildur's now husband, didn't seem to mind Gunnar's company, something he likely regretted deeply just a year later. It all went down on the 14th of August 2010. Hildur was invited to a party that Gunnar was attending as well. But things got a bit out of hand and Hilda ended up drinking too much and passing out. Given their closeness, the task of getting her home safely was handed to Gunnar. But instead of dropping her off at Hannes' house like he should have, Gunnar took her to his own home. By the time Hilda woke up, it was already morning. She was understandably furious with Gunnar and immediately called one of her friends to drive her home. But nothing could have prepared Hilda for the horrific scene she witnessed on the other side of her front door. Her husband Hannes was lying on the top of the staircase near their bedroom, submerged in a pool of his own blood. She ran outside and called the authorities. Sadly, it was already too late. Hannes had received over 20 stab wounds on his body, from his arms and legs to the back of his neck, and was long dead by the time Hilda found him. Given his condition, his death was ruled a homicide and investigators wasted no time in looking for the killer. And while they initially suspected one of his business rivals of committing this horrific crime, it didn't take long for investigators to find Gunnar's video confession to Hilda and bring him in for questioning. Gunnar denied knowing anything about it and was eventually let go due to lack of evidence. Fortunately, not all hope was lost, because not long after that, investigators found a bloody shoe print next to Hannes' bed. Looking deeper into this print revealed that it belonged to a pair of limited edition Adidas shoes. At the time, there were only 18 of these specific shoes in all of Iceland, and Gunnar just so happened to own one of these pairs. This was enough evidence to detain him once again. This also gave investigators the authority to do a thorough search of his belongings, resulting in them finding residue of Hannes' blood on his shoes, as well as in his car. Once presented with this evidence, Gunnar confessed to the murder. He also revealed that he'd been planning it for months, and even shoplifted the items he intended to use to avoid purchase records linking back to him. And while he didn't admit to it, Hilda also suspected him of spiking her drink that night, since she usually never passed out like that. After committing the crime, he also drove to a nearby pier and dumped items used in the crime into the sea to get rid of any evidence. It was a well thought out plan, since he was only caught because the garbage bag he used to hide his shoe prints tore open as he walked. As for his motive, it was just as everyone had expected, with him making it clear during the investigation, stating, "I loved Hilda. She was supposed to be with me. She was not supposed to be with him." Surprisingly, he was found not guilty during his first trial on March 1, 2011 by reason of insanity stemming from his messed up childhood. However, the prosecution argued that he was fully aware of his actions and escalated the case to the Supreme Court of Iceland. Gunnar was found guilty on this second trial and was sentenced to 16 years in prison. This was already lenient given the brutality of his crime, yet he ended up serving only half of that sentence as well. He was released under supervision in July 2019 and now works at a local warehouse.
Oh man. Yeah, we sticking to the YouTube.
With base 40.
Might go to the game in a little bit.
Gwynfor Beach is a white sand beach just north of St. Ann Cove in West Cornwall, England. Because you have to go through some winding roads and sand dunes to get there, lots of people drive by that area without even realizing it's there. But for a YouTuber named Jacob Cockle, this was home. In 2011, Jacob started a channel called Whirlpool Hitman, where he would upload footage of his adventures swimming in whirlpools and doing other extreme stunts such as cliff jumping, extreme surfing, and cave exploration. As of today, the channel has close to 150,000 subscribers. According to his family, Jacob lived his life on the edge, and his stunts often earned him covering shots in big surfing magazines and even prizes from the Sunday Times and National Geographic. In some of his whirlpool videos, Jacob would often throw stuff at a vortex and record random objects getting sucked down by the powerful currents. But in most of his videos, he would actually swim in the whirlpools himself, which is extremely dangerous as the swirling currents could easily pull a person under in seconds. On May 28, 2013, the whirlpool that made Hale Estuary famous surfaced again, as it did a few times a year. And Jacob was determined to swim in it to capture some cool-looking footage for his channel. That day, he ran up to his friend and artist David Rain's house and asked him to film him as he swam around the whirlpool. David had collaborated with Jacob in the past, and seeing how excited his friend was, he agreed. Just like in the rest of his YouTube videos, Jacob brought a prop to the harbor to make his video more eye-catching to his viewers, and for this particular video, he decided the prop would be a horse mask. For several minutes, Jacob swirled around the vortex's edge, letting the current carry him in a circle without dragging him down. At one point in the video, he mentions to his friend that swimming in a whirlpool was a lot like surfing because it was all about flowing with the currents. After filming for about 25 minutes, David mentions that they probably have enough footage and tries to get Jacob to come out of the water.
I reckon you got enough there.
Riding the current of it with your body.
Oh. Are you?
Yeah, it's really similar to surfing. Just flowing with it. That's pretty scary.
You got enough?
I should really make the most of it. I don't know what else to do.
Instead of getting out, Jacob asked David to hand him his stick-mounted GoPro so he could capture one last bit of underwater footage before calling it a day. A few seconds after he dived down, David started to worry as Jacob hadn't come back up to the surface. When he yelled his friend's name and received no response, he ran to the other end of the quay where the water flowed into a pool. That's when he saw his friend face down in the water and knew it was too late. Jacob was gone. In March of 2014, Jacob's last footage was uploaded to YouTube with the haunting caption at the end of the video reading, "Live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever." At age 28, Jacob lost his life doing what he loved most. His funeral was attended by dozens more people than the church could accommodate, and they all gathered to celebrate his life and remember him as the fearless adventurer he was. A year after his passing, the harbor was renovated, and the whirlpool that had captivated Jacob and ultimately taken his life disappeared forever. James Stobe was a YouTuber known for his unique train hopping videos, where he traveled across the country by riding on the back of freight trains, delighting his fans with his original piano playing, deadpan humor, and hilarious commentary on everything he saw. Due to the risk of falling off the train or getting caught between moving cars, train hopping is extremely dangerous. But that hasn't stopped people from doing it since before the Great Depression. And it definitely didn't stop James, or Stobe the Hobo as he often referred to himself on his YouTube channel of almost 60,000 subscribers and just a little over 60 videos. In some of his videos, you'll find comments from people claiming that they had met Stobe at bars and assumed he was lying when he told them he train hopped across the country filming his adventures. But every time, Stobe surprised them with some pretty awesome footage of his cross-country train hopping trips. From Palm Beach to Jacksonville, Stobe loved sharing his raw experience of life on the rails with his audience, who always supported him in his unending search for some pizza and a cold beer. Sadly, the adventure came to a tragic end for Stobe on November 8, 2017, when a deadly train accident in Baltimore took his life. Unfortunately, due to the lack of media coverage of his passing, it's hard to know what exactly happened to James Stobe. But the most familiar sources claim that he either fell off an overpass or his backpack got caught on a passing Amtrak train as he was standing on a bridge. Because his death left so many questions unanswered, a lot of his fans submitted requests for the Baltimore Police Department to release more information on the case, but they were asked to remain respectful of Stobe's family and give them space. As of 2024, most of Stobe's fans still don't know exactly what happened to him, but if one thing's for sure, Stobe the Hobo passed away doing what he loved most, and his legacy will live on forever. High on Life was a pretty popular YouTube channel with over 600,000 subscribers at its peak. Starting in 2011, the High on Life crew uploaded more than 400 videos showing their audience what it was like to make a living as full-time travelers. From exploring beautiful tropical paradises, to cliff jumping, to diving sunken ships, High on Life always uploaded really cool videos of the crew's adventures across the globe. Living life by their motto, "If you can, you should," embracing life to the fullest was at the heart of everything they did. As mentioned in their channel description, part of their mission was to inspire their audience to get out and explore the world. For several years, the High on Life channel grew quickly, with travel content being released frequently. But on July 3, 2018, a tragic accident would forever change the lives of the 10 team members and their audience. That day, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police reported that 3 people had been swimming in one of the pools at the top of Shannon Falls when they suddenly slipped and fell into a pool about 100 feet below. Shortly after, the bodies of the 3 victims were confirmed to belong to Riker Gamble, Alexei Lyak, and Megan Scraper. Riker and Alexei were High on Life members, while Megan was Alexei's longtime partner. Tragically, it was confirmed by the police that Riker and Alexei were trying to rescue Megan, who had slipped into fast-moving water before the 3 of them fell 100 feet. Through tears, the remaining members of the High on Life crew shared a touching goodbye message for Riker, Alexei, and Megan on their YouTube channel, remembering them as the kind, outgoing, life-loving people they were. Throughout the investigation, there were rumors that the 3 of them had been filming a video at the time of the accident, but this wasn't 100% confirmed. In the aftermath of the tragic incident, a GoFundMe page was started to cover the funeral expenses, raising close to 30,000 Canadian with the help of their loyal audience. After uploading 5 tribute videos, the High on Life crew continued uploading videos of their travel adventures, honoring their friend's legacy. The last video they uploaded was 2 years ago.
Hey everybody, well,
that's scary, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Since 2009, fitness model and actor Greg Plitt uploaded over 120 videos to his channel where he motivated his subscribers to work out, challenge their bodies and minds, and leave a lasting legacy. In a lot of his videos, he inspired his followers with a philosophy of extreme discipline and seizing every day as an opportunity to become a better version of themselves. Throughout his career, Greg inspired hundreds of thousands of young men to push beyond their limits, embrace hard work, and grab life by the horns. As a West Point graduate and Army Ranger who had jumped out of more than 1,000 planes throughout his career, Greg really did practice what he preached. Sadly, in 2015, Greg lost his life at the age of 37 after being hit by a Metrolink commuter train in Burbank, California. According to witnesses, he had been shooting a video for his website with 2 crew members when the accident took place. Based on the police report, it appears that Greg was either trying to outrun a train and get an amazing shot for his website, or he mistakenly believed that an oncoming train was on a parallel track to his instead of the track he was on. Either way, several sources confirmed that at some point while he was running on the tracks, he tripped, fell, and couldn't get up in time to avoid the oncoming train. Based on one witness's testimony, Greg had been holding a camcorder in his hand when he was struck by the train, but this was never officially confirmed. Chillingly, a bystander took a photo of Greg standing near the tracks just a few moments before the incident. Another witness named James A. Brown claims he saw a security camera video of Greg running on the tracks as the train approached him from behind.
He had on all black, the train went by, I saw him, stumbled over the tracks, he had a camcorder in his hand, something like yours, and then that was it, the train stopped.
And you didn't see, you just saw him walking across the track?
Well, I saw him stumble over the tracks as the train was going by, and then it stopped right there.
To this day, it's still not completely clear what Greg was attempting to do, but this wasn't the first time he had used train tracks as a prop for his workout videos. In other videos, he had been filmed doing push-ups on the tracks, playing with fire and taunting death as he moved out of the way of oncoming trains just in time to avoid impact. Unfortunately, he couldn't react quick enough that afternoon in 2015. To this day, Greg is remembered as a prime example of what it means to live boldly, and through his hundreds of thousands of fans, friends, and family, his legacy will live on forever. Tor Eckhoff, also known as Apator, was a Norwegian YouTuber who rose to fame with his videos where he would do some pretty risky stuff on frozen waters, including ice skating on thin sheets of ice and diving in ice holes shirtless. On his journey to break the 1 million follower mark, Apator captivated his viewers by accompanying his stunts with some very unique habits, including drinking entire bottles of vodka, rolling around in the snow half naked in sub-zero temperatures, and even drinking engine oil just for fun. In his channel description, he mentioned how he was born in 1964 and lived in Norway where he worked in a paint factory. He also confirmed that what he drank in his videos was real vodka, but that his uploads should not be interpreted as any sort of advertisement for the Norwegian vodka brand he was drinking. Throughout his YouTube career, Apator's audience fell in love with his extremely quirky style and his unique antics, which earned him the support of well over 1.3 million followers as of his last video. Sadly, on November 27, 2021, just a few days after he turned 57 and eerily posted a video titled, "I am not dead, I'm 57 today," Apator fell through the ice on a frozen lake near the town of Kongsberg while shooting some footage of himself ice skating. Before he started skating, he had sent a text informing the person he lived with that everything was okay and that he was looking forward to capturing some good footage. After falling through the ice, Tor quickly tried climbing back out, but because the temperature wasn't cool enough to freeze back the edges, it kept breaking under his weight, leaving him trapped. After a while, Tor was picked up by a group of divers and sent by air ambulance to a nearby hospital. The doctors tried everything to bring him back to life, but it was too late as Apator had been in the water too long. In the last video he uploaded, thousands of his loyal followers expressed their condolences and sadness at his passing. Even in 2024, Apator is seen by his followers and the YouTube community as somewhat of a legend, a guy who dared to live life differently from most people and wasn't afraid to show it. It says a lot about his content that even after his death, his videos are still receiving thousands and thousands of views from fans and curious viewers all around the world. Albert Dyrland was a Danish actor and YouTuber who was best known for making comedy sketches and music videos for his songs. Since 2016, Albert uploaded over 220 videos to YouTube, earning him the love of over 170,000 subscribers. In 2018, he also starred in a comedy movie named Team Albert, which follows the life of a high schooler who wants to become YouTube famous. The movie would actually go on to win the Blockbuster Audience Award at the 2019 Danish Film Awards. On July 28, 2021, Albert was hiking Mount Seceda in the Italian Alps and filming a video for his channel with some friends. During the hike, he uploaded a story to Instagram where he showed his beautiful surroundings to his followers. Sadly, that same day, as he was recording a video on his phone, he fell off the mountain and plummeted more than 600 feet to his death. After the incident, a rescue helicopter was sent to the location, but unfortunately he was pronounced dead at the scene. From what I found, Mount Seceda is a part of the Dolomites, a limestone mountain range known for its steep walls, sharp cliffs, and sudden drop-offs, all of which likely contributed to the tragic accident. The investigation revealed that Albert and his friends had been hiking on a route that links two mountain peaks, but it's unclear what exactly he and his friends were doing when Albert fell off the mountain. In the aftermath of his passing, thousands of loving fans shared their condolences, referring to him as a Danish YouTube icon and one of the best content creators in Denmark. With more than 90 million views on his channel throughout his career, Albert was loved by both his Danish and international audience. His tragic death shook the YouTube community and served as a harsh reminder that capturing footage in extreme terrain comes with its own set of risks. To this day, Albert is remembered by his fans for his humor, talent, and the joy he brought to so many people.
No, you good. No, you good fast. Oh, my clothes, they ain't peak. What do you mean, Faz? You ain't do nothing? You ain't do nothing. You straight. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta get my clothes. Hold on, let me see something. Man, hold on, Fire. Why? Man, why I hear about you eating? You eating weapon? Man, Fire, boy, I ain't gonna say that, man. Trying to find something to watch. I get my clothes. I ain't gonna lie.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
I got a video, yep. Skip it, man, baby.
This is 27-year-old Alina Arancibia. On May 7th, 2025, Boca Raton police responded to a local pawn shop in reference to a fraudulent purchase in progress. Officers learn a woman is attempting to purchase a Rolex for $12,000, and the pawn shop staff became suspicious of her fake identification. Alina continuously lied to the police until a fingerprint scanner confirmed who she really was. A continuous pawn on May 27-year-old Alina.
Hold on, y'all. Let me get my clothes, or y'all gonna be watching this by yourself for a little bit. Y'all gonna be watching this for a little bit. I'm coming though. Y'all gonna be watching this by yourself. Man, play it.
Arancibia. On May 7th, 2025, Boca Raton police responded to a local pawn shop in reference to a fraudulent purchase in progress. Officers learn a woman is attempting to purchase a Rolex for $12,000, and the pawn shop staff became suspicious of her fake identification. Alina continuously lied to the police until a fingerprint scanner confirmed who she really was, and she finally confessed to her correct information during the booking process at the police department.
You good for a second?
Can you run me a Connecticut DL?
Hey, how's it going, guys? So what's going on?
Yeah. So she came in with a plan to purchase a Rolex watch, and she tried to use a fake ID and the credit card name matching to fake ID. When I scanned the ID, came out different name and address in my system, so I figured she is trying to scam us. I think she's working with somebody. She texting to some. Maybe she had like a boss on top of her.
Did you give the IDs back to?
I gave it to police officer.
Okay, give it to them. Okay, so what was she? How much was she supposed to be purchasing this one?
12,300 total purchase of the Rolex watch.
So she came in for 12,300. What kind of Rolex was it?
It's a Rolex Submariner.
What was it?
A Rolex Submariner.
Submariner?
Submariner.
Okay. And then she presented you. What kind of ID was it?
It's a. Don't remember, but you're.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. You don't remember what state it was out of, anything like that. But you said it looked like her, but when you ran it, the address was different.
Address and name was different. When I scanned it, barcode on the back.
Okay. All right, let me go take a look at it. Yep.
So, for example, what is in our system, Kimberly Harrison,
Mm-hmm.
and the ID itself, Miranda Emily, which matching the card.
Okay.
And completely different address.
Okay.
And the IDs look weird.
Okay, let me take a look at it. Ma'am, can you stay off your phone, please? What's that?
What's the situation? What's that?
I don't know. I told her she's detained right now. The deal's not coming back as anything.
Okay. So, ma'am, stay off your phone, okay? All right? I need you to just have a seat over here, and I need to read something to you before we talk to you, okay? Okay, these are your rights. You speak English fully and understand it? Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present while you are being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questions if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions. You understand that? Okay, so what's going on?
I'm here to buy a watch.
Okay. So you came in to buy the Rolex watch?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I mean, so what's the process? Like, what, are you guys gonna like?
So you're being detained right now because you're not free to leave.
So am I going to jail?
That's the process we're going through. That's why I'm asking you questions so I can figure out what's going on, because I can't just come into a situation and arrest you, right?
Right.
Okay. So, can I see those? Okay, so you came in and you presented these two things to them, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any documentation that has your right information on it?
No.
Okay. And who is this on the driver's license?
That's me.
This is you?
That's
Okay. And this is the only ID that you have? So you're telling me that your name is Emily Miranda?
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
There's nobody left name or date of birth.
What's your date of birth?
It's on the ID.
Okay. So you understand how this is becoming kind of suspicious at this point because you don't even know which ID your date of birth is?
1997.
Okay. And what is your name and your address?
It's 277 Farm Road, Richfield, Connecticut.
Okay.
Any unit with a available fingerprint scanner for Alpha 35.
Alright, just hang out with her for a minute. I want to see what their system came back with, okay? Did she give you this at any time to try to purchase anything?
Yes.
Okay, and when you ran it, what happened?
I didn't run the card. I realized that it's not. When I did scan, we got this feature using the barcode on the ID.
And it came up with that name that you showed me, right?
Yeah. That's it. After this, I understood already. This is here.
I'm sorry, I just need to take a look. Alright, thank you. Can you just leave that up in case I just need it one more time?
Sure.
Alright, thank you. Alright, ma'am. So is that the story you're sticking with? That this is your real ID, this is your real name, this is your real date of birth? Yes?
I actually don't have nothing else to say.
You don't have nothing else to say?
No.
Okay. Alright, just hold that for a second. Stand up for me for a second. You're just being detained as of right now. I'm just going to put you in handcuffs, okay?
Websites your competitors don't.
What the? How you do this?
Alright, just have a seat for a second until the other officer gets here, okay? You good for a second, Chris Weiser, where I can look up that other ID that they have?
I am.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Alina is detained while they wait for another officer with a fingerprint scanner to arrive.
Yeah, when they scan this, someone else's name popped up, but that doesn't come back to anything either.
Alpha 37 Central.
This number comes... Was that us? This comes back to nothing. But when they scan the actual barcode, it comes back to a different name as well. Which also comes back to nothing. That ID number comes back to nothing as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Which... Yeah, no, different ID number.
The plot thickens.
So what, am I under arrest? Am I under arrest?
Yeah, you were detained.
Okay, so what is the difference between being detained and being under arrest?
Because the investigation is still ongoing.
What investigation?
The investigation. It's like Miranda rights, Miranda.
Decide. I'm going to read you your rights, literally.
You're talking about this in the back?
Yeah, just the whole thing looks crooked.
Yeah, the cuts, it's cut slanted too.
Yeah. I just request a refund. See the receipt.
What's up, man?
You see, you got a 20-minute ad.
Hey, so
Listen, man, you better skip that.
she presented this. They scanned it, came back to another name as well. It comes back to nothing for us, so just need to try to figure out who she is. Is it easier to do while she's sitting, or you want us to have her stand up? How's that? Sit down?
She's in cuffs, so I'm stand up.
Alright, stand up for us. Oh, right here. Stay right here.
Oh, music more. Okay. I don't want to look on.
Alright, you can have a seat.
arrested before?
She doesn't want to talk.
I don't want to have passive questions.
What do we got for the first name?
Lena Aranciba is her last name.
Lena A.
Sound about right?
I don't know.
Does it come back with Florida ID?
Arrested for battery by Lakeshore.
Arrested for battery.
Does it have like a DL number or a picture?
Just tears back, tap through your left hand.
I don't know which way left is. No, that's right. No, that's left.
One closer to you.
Yeah.
Is there a picture, DL number?
No, there isn't going to be a picture. At least not I can access. But
do you have a DL number?
Yes, the scars marked up too. Yeah, I got her social. Birthday.
All right, go with spell the first name for me.
Search.
Alpha Lima.
Just one second.
Okay. Alpha Lima, India November Alpha.
Alpha Lima.
India November Alpha.
Middle initial.
None.
Last name.
Alpha Romeo, Echo November, Charlie India, Bravo India, Alpha.
You're going too fast. I'm not dispatcher. Go ahead again.
ARENCIBIA.
All right, let me go look it up real quick, see if I can find something, a picture for her.
And she's history of North Carolina.
Police search her arrest history for a picture and confirm her real identity to be 27-year-old Alina Arancibia.
All right, you can. Do you have anything on you that's going to poke us, stick us, or anything like that that we need to know about?
No.
All right, you are under arrest. Stand up.
Over here. Yeah.
He's now on 32nd. Go ahead and northbound. Bed.
Alpha 31st Street. Square. Thank you.
Did the lobby closet get handled, or does that need to be reassigned?
Okay, jewelry on beside your nose ring. Earrings, piercing, anything else? No other piercings?
Do you want to get those piercings out at in booking?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll look at that up there. Or back down there.
Probably has her ID in there now. On the back of her phone.
Probably the back of the phone.
I'll grab this stuff since you're taking out. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me unlock it. I'll unlock it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had to talk loud because the motorcycle. Alpha 37, white female 1015. All right, you want to meet me up there?
I'll meet you up there.
Appreciate you. The other officer told you that when he took your fingerprints? Oh yeah, I mean he runs the fingerprint scanner, so yeah, more than likely it does. I said he runs the scanner and everything, so yeah, probably it does. Yeah, like he knows the process of all that, so when your fingerprints get scanned, it all gets sent to them.
It gets sent to the FBI?
Mm-hmm.
For everybody?
Yep.
Like even misdemeanor?
Well, I mean, you don't have a misdemeanor. You got a couple charges.
So what?
You have a couple charges. I can let you know what they are once we get them back in booking.
So what are the charges?
I don't know exactly everything, but you had a fake ID, which is not a misdemeanor. You provided a false name, which is also not, which is, you know, you try to purchase something fraudulently with a fraudulent credit card.
So they give you a bond here?
I don't know. When you go up to the county jail, when you talk to the judge, they issue all that stuff. All right, ma'am, you're going to come out. She's going to ask you some questions on the computer as far as your name, date of birth, and where you live is at. Please give her the right information so we have, I mean, we already have it, so. What's that? That's open.
Alright, let's stand up next to this wall.
Elena Arancibia was charged with fraudulent use of credit card, possession of fraudulent driver's license, and providing a false name to law enforcement.
Incorrect password.
Technology, am I right?
That's a 3 million drug bust. Oh, I gotta watch that.
Full house in here. Hey, I'm Officer Sharon, Cascron Police Department. Hey, the reason I stopped you, you're going a little fast. You know what speed limit is here?
75.
Yeah, I got you going pacing about 80, okay?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
All right. Do you got your license, registration, insurance? What's this?
That's the insurance.
You don't even have a driver's license. You can't even be driving.
I know. It's because she got tired. I didn't want to, you know.
You just not have a license, or is it suspended?
It's suspended.
You want it suspended for? For DUI? That's not good. You'll have to criminal.
I know. I'm sorry. It's because, yeah, she got tired. I didn't want to drive, but...
Alright, here, come back here. Let's talk to me. Try to figure out what we can do for you. Why'd you pull over on the left side of the road?
I know she told me, but it's because I thought when you're on the highway, you're supposed to pull to the left. I've never been pulled over on the highway, so I wasn't sure. But she told me right after I did it, I was like, oh my God, like I messed up.
I'm going to talk to you over here on the left side of my vehicle just because I don't want to be that close. That's good right here. You can sit right here in front of my car, okay? Thanks. Where are you guys coming from now?
We're visiting my family.
Oh yeah, your family?
And her, my friend's daughter, her dad is in Mexico, so she went to take him to go see him. He was deported I think a few weeks ago. He's my cousin.
Oh, he's your cousin?
Yeah.
When did you guys get down there?
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah.
How long did you guys stay down there for?
2 days.
2 days. Who's all in the car now?
Me, my friend, her daughter, and her niece.
None of your kids?
No.
So she got tired and that's where you're driving?
Yeah, I started driving.
What's the name of, you said it's her husband or boyfriend?
It's her father. Yeah.
What's his Luis? Where are you heading now?
Back home to Mesa.
Nothing illegal in the car?
No.
I ask everybody.
No.
So your license is suspended for DUI. You said nothing illegal in the car?
No.
Methamphetamine?
No, nothing. They have kids.
Cocaine? Marijuana? Fentanyl pills? Nothing like that? Okay. I'm going to cite you for the criminal citation, okay? And you'll get a court date and a time to appear, okay, on that thing. This area is a high drug trafficking area. I'm sure there's nothing in here. Is it okay if I search the car?
It's her vehicle. I don't mind, but if you just want to ask her really quick.
Okay. Since you gave me permission, I'm going to go talk to her real quick. Hey, can you come out here and talk to me real quick?
Hey, hold on. Let me go. I want to make sure you don't get run over.
Hey, I talked to her a little bit about anything illegal in the car. She said there's nothing in the car. She's giving me permission to search it. I know you're the owner of the car, so I'm just asking you for permission to search it too. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have you come back over here. We'll get everybody out. And like I said, I'm just going to cite you for the driving on a suspended license because you can't be driving like that. You know that. With your permission to search, we'll search it when I'm done doing that. I don't expect to find anything because you guys have been pretty honest with me, but then we'll get you guys out of here, okay? And then I'll have you drive if your license is good, okay?
Yeah, you
all right. What's that?
My license.
Yeah. Why? You know she doesn't have a good driver's license. Why are you letting her drive?
I got tired.
If you guys need to talk to me by any means, holler at this officer and he can talk to me, okay?
Imagine being able to build an
Okay.
Oh. Man, but why would y'all let them even search your car? That don't even make no sense, bro. I'm not letting them search my car, and I know I got all that in it, bro.
$15. 266, showing you 10, 15 times 2. Clear back.
1751
Yeah, we're gonna need 2 units for transport. You guys just put your kind of butts up against my car, please. Just stay right there, okay?
Yeah, let's put one down there, and you come up here.
You got no weapons on you, right? No. Okay. So this is your daughter.
311, you can touch.
In the event that we need to have someone come pick them up, who can come get them?
Like out here?
We could take them probably back to the police department.
Yeah, I can have a friend pick them up.
Who's your friend?
Costco?
I mean, like, we want to make sure we give them to somebody who's responsible.
Oh, yeah.
Where's their dad?
Well, I'm fighting custody for her. Her dad's not here. He's in Mexico.
Okay.
And the temporary guardian will be my mom.
Would your mom come get them?
She does not know how to drive that far.
Costco, you said?
Costco.
Costco?
Yeah, he's just a friend.
And how old is he? 27. 27? All right, well, I got to make sure it's okay with my supervisor that they go. If that's okay, then we'll work on getting that. Okay? There's a bunch of big vitamin containers, and they're full of M30.
The term M30 refers
Yeah, what is M? Ah, about to look it up.
to counterfeit prescription pills that are pressed with illicit fentanyl, commonly known
Fentanyl. Oh lord.
as blues. These pills are manufactured to perfectly mimic authentic pills and are primarily mass-produced in clandestine labs, often in Mexico. They are extremely dangerous as their manufacturing process can result in pills containing a lethal dose of just 2 milligrams. The suspects are now transported to Casa Grande Police Department for questioning.
All right, so Tanya, right?
No, Tanya's my friend.
Martha, I'm sorry. So I'm Officer Sharon, I'm the case officer. Obviously, I was the officer that stopped you today. You're the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in the court of law. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, I stopped you. You're going a little fast, and even though it's 5 over, it's still dangerous. When I started talking to you at first, you obviously were a little hesitant to give me your license, probably because it was suspended, and you told me that you had a DUI. So obviously, you know you're not supposed to be driving the vehicle, right? When I searched it, there was the first thing I saw a pill bottle, and I opened up that pill bottle, and obviously it wasn't what was supposed to be in there. There was a lot of fentanyl in the car. Okay. The main thing that you can do right now, the best thing for you is to be honest with me. Okay. So let's start kind of from the beginning, how we got to this point. It's a ton of fentanyl. It's very serious. Obviously, you know that fentanyl is dangerous, right?
Yes.
It's the #1 threat to our country right now. People are dying every day out of it. And you're facilitating it by bringing it into this country, okay? Let's talk about kind of how we got to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know anything. We just went down. We're there for 2 days. I don't know.
Okay, well, your luggage is in the car, right?
Yes.
Right. There's 2 suitcases in the back, okay? So you guys went down, and you came back, and there's property in the car that wasn't there when you guys came down, right? Okay. So obviously, you'd have some questions. Why is there a bunch of property in the car, right? Okay, so where did that come from?
I don't know.
You have no clue where that came from? Okay. So what'd you think it was?
Well, I thought it was collagen pills. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know that there was anything else in there.
Who picked up the collagen pills? Why did you have them in the car?
I don't even know how they got there.
Okay, so you obviously knew they were in there because you said you thought they were collagen pills, right?
Yeah, but I don't even know when they got there or anything.
You don't know when they got there, and that didn't concern you.
I mean, honestly, I didn't ask any questions. I know it sounds dumb, but I don't.
But it didn't concern you that you went down to Mexico for a couple days, and then you came back, and you have a ton of property in the car that you don't know how it got there, who it belongs to.
Honestly, I saw like 2 bags, and that was it. I don't know what else is in there. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, you're facing some serious felonies tonight. Possession of a narcotic drug for sale, transportation of narcotic drug for sale, endangerment. You put 2 kids in danger. You would agree, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're minors, they were kids, yeah.
Knowing now that there was close to 500,000 fentanyl pills in that car.
500,000?
You would understand how that would be dangerous towards those kids, right?
Hold on, 500,000? Let me see something about 500. So like 2-3 million. That's insane, bro. Oh, we watching this right now. So if you got 400 grand, that's 10-year mandatory minimum. That's insane, bro. It said 1 kilo of fentanyl, the potential to kill 500,000 people. Yo, what the? Yo, what? That's insane.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Okay. What do you think should happen to someone like you that comes across and brings this amount of fentanyl pills into the country?
I mean, someone that's bringing that amount, I don't know what would happen, you know, I don't know what to even say, honestly.
Okay. So you went down to Mexico with your friend, right? How do you guys know each other?
We've been friends for over 15 years.
Did you guys ever have a discussion about the collagen pills that were in the car? No? You just saw all the property in the car, but you just never wanted to have a discussion about it?
I honestly didn't ask any questions. Just at one point when we were just coming back, she was just tired, asked me if I could drive, and I drove, and that's it.
And I'm sure that you guys co-conspired to go down there and pick him up. I don't believe you're being honest or truthful with me. And here's the deal. We have your phone, okay? Your phone's gonna give us all the information that we need. They can do a digital download of through your carrier, and it will give us GPS locations, it will give us text messages, it will give us everything that's happened. So right now I'm giving you a chance to be honest with me and tell me the truth about what you know.
Yeah, no, and I don't know anything.
Okay, so your phone's not gonna have any information about you driving down to Mexico to pick up fentanyl pills who are coming back. Okay, all right, hang tight, okay?
All right, watch this.
Now questions the friend separately to see if she gives any more or different details.
When did you guys first notice that those were in the vehicle?
We were asked like if we could bring them, but I did not know what was in there.
Okay, so someone asked you to bring them. And who asked you to bring them?
A family member first, but I have no clue.
A family member of yours?
No, of hers.
Of hers?
Yeah.
Okay. You have no clue what family member? Okay, boy, girl?
No. We were just chilling at the house and...
All right, let me start over a little bit. I know that you guys didn't go down on Sunday, okay? Because there's what we have called the LPR readers, right? At the border, I just looked at it and you guys came down yesterday, okay? So don't start the conversation off lying to me, because once you lie, it tells me that you know more than something. Obviously, like, how can I trust you for the rest of this conversation if you're not going to be honest with me, right? So please, please, please be honest with me. I'll ask you again. So you went down yesterday. Where did you guys go once you crossed the border?
We went to a hotel.
Okay, what hotel? You guys knew you were there to pick something up, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what was the understanding when you got there? Like, take me through it. What happened when you got there?
They sent her an address to pick up something, and that's when we hit it over there.
Was that today?
Yeah.
Okay, so they sent her an address on her phone.
Yeah.
That's where you guys went to go pick it up.
Yeah.
What time did you guys pick up those items?
1 p.m.
After picking them up, where'd you guys go from there?
Straight here.
Straight here. Okay. So you had to have had pretty good knowledge that what you guys were taking back wasn't collagen pills, right?
They just said it was like a big amount of like medication, and that we couldn't like report it online because we were gonna get like taxed. That's what my understanding was.
So it's her connect basically that says, hey, come to this address. Did you drive there or did she drive you to the house?
She did.
And then how does the product get into your vehicle?
They started loading it. I was just in the living room.
So you were in the living room of the residence, and then they went outside and started loading the car. When you say they, how many people?
Just 2.
You had to have had some concern, right? Because that's not a normal right? That's something someone would normally do, right? Were you concerned that it was something illegal?
Yes and no at the same time.
You have close to 500,000 fentanyl pills in your car. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, that's what it is right now. So pretty serious charges. Obviously, you guys co-conspired to go down there to pick it up. The severity of the crime is pretty bad. Fentanyl is killing a ton of people, and you guys are introducing it into this country. Is there any part of you that feels bad that?
Well, knowing what it is, yes, because right now we're going through a case with my sister. I don't know what type of drug she's doing, and that's why we're keeping her case.
Well, you guys didn't go down to visit family, obviously. That was a lie, right? Be honest, it was a lie, right?
Yeah, I did not know what it was.
But you knew you were picking something up, right? So your friend, what was the conversation like? What'd she say? What made you guys come down yesterday? Because we know it wasn't to visit family, so what did she tell you?
That if I was like willing to like first to pick up something, and I was like, what kind of things? And she's like, oh, it's like medication.
And then you said yes.
Yeah.
And then when you saw these things being loaded in your vehicle, you had some current concerns. You told me that it may be something illegal or may not be something illegal.
Yeah.
Don't you think that would have been a good time to pull out of it? To say no?
I wasn't sure like what to do.
Here's the deal. I've been doing this a long time. They may have said, hey, just if you get caught, tell them this is the story, that with taxes, whatever. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing.
I'm going to be honest, I did not know.
Okay. I'm going to go talk to her for a minute. I'm going to leave you in here with Officer Wilson. You got the gist of everything that happened?
Yeah.
I'll be right back. All right. So this is looking worse and worse for you, okay? Because I talked to her and she told me a completely different side of the story, okay? I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, and I'm going to give you a chance to be a little more honest with me, okay?
Okay.
Do you want to tell me anything different before we have this conversation? No? No? Okay. So her story is completely different than yours. Her story is that it's your connect down there. You guys went down there. You stayed one night at a hotel. Today you received an address. You went to the house. You received the address of where to go. Okay? You guys went to the house where the vehicle was loaded, and you asked for the ride to come down to Mexico to pick up product. Okay? I'm going to give you a little opportunity to be a little more honest with me and tell me the truth on what happened.
No, I don't know. I don't.
So she's lying to me.
I don't want to call her a liar, but I don't.
Well, you are, because she told me a completely different side of the story than yours.
Yo, that's insane.
Today, did you get a message on your phone on where to go to pick up those bottles?
No.
No, that never happened.
No.
Okay, so you never went to an address where the vehicle was loaded?
No.
You never asked her to take you down to Mexico to pick up the items?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're going to sit here and lie to me, then I have no more reason to talk to you tonight, okay? Do you want to tell me anything different?
They definitely got snitch on her.
Okay.
They definitely got snitch on her.
Hey, is your Mac C?
But they got used as collateral damage, man. Oh man, that's
So what do you guys get paid to do this? Like for this load that you guys brought, what did you guys get paid? Or what are you guys supposed to be paid for it?
How much are we supposed to? I'm not sure. This is a new person that we were gonna work with, so I don't know how much he was paying.
In the past, how much have you guys got paid?
10K.
Per 10K each
Yeah.
per load? Okay. And how many pills did you guys move that time?
It was half of what we brought today. We don't know how many they are, just the containers. I want to say 80.
80 containers. So it's likely that you would have got paid $20,000 for this if it was double.
Yeah, more likely.
Okay, all right, hang tight. Okay, you got any questions for me right now?
Do you know if my daughter has been picked up or not?
She hasn't yet, but I'll let you know.
The two suspects were identified as 30-year-old Martha Lopez and 31-year-old Tanya Solis. Over 500,000 fentanyl pills were found in the collagen supplement containers, with an estimated street value of up to $2.5 million to $3 million. While the legal proceedings are still in progress as of the time of publication, so far, Martha has been charged with transportation of narcotic drugs and child endangerment. While she is innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law, Tanya has been charged with 2 counts of transportation of narcotic drugs and possession of a weapon during a drug offense. She has taken a plea deal, pleading guilty to 1 count of transportation of narcotic drugs in exchange for the other 2 charges to be dismissed. She has yet to be sentenced. However, first-time offenses for this much controlled substance can result in up to 15 years in prison.
It's the deadliest illegal drug in US history by far. Between 2013 and 2023, it killed about 400,000 Americans.
And what stayed with me from that fentanyl segment is that this stuff is about 50 times stronger than heroin. Think about that for a second. And the proof is in the numbers. While overdoses are down slightly in recent years, they still kill approximately 70,000 Americans a year and are the #1 cause of accidental death in the United States. To put it in perspective, for every 1 person killed by lightning, 7,400 people are killed by fentanyl. Every one of those pills was headed towards somebody's son, daughter, friend, or neighbor. And that's what makes 500,000 pills so disturbing, because every one of them is another chance for a family to get a phone call they never saw coming.
That's insane, bro. You know, yeah. I'm about to look at a hospital. I'm about to look at Porsche out around Cox, man. Y'all know me. Hey, listen, I know I love my Porsche, man. So I can find me a Porsche, bro. Wait, is this a Porsche? Is it a Porsche here? No, that ain't no Porsche. That's a former one of that, man. I don't want that. It's a supercar, I don't know. I want to see it. I should have typed in supercar. That's on me. My fault, yeah. What my search bar is? I ain't searched none of this. What is this?
6.
Hold on, y'all. I ain't searched none of this. Wait, my Vaco was Canada. I wonder who won. But I ain't searched that up though.
2024, just before sunrise, officers rolled down Sherman Way and spotted a gray 2019 Lamborghini sitting at a red light. Behind the wheel, 51-year-old Elliot Dugan was dead asleep. And let's be honest, if you steal a Lambo, the last place you should be taking a nap is at an intersection with cops pulling up. They pulled him over, and at first, Dugan seemed calm and cooperative.
How's it going, man? Good. I was right next to you. I put my spotlight on you, man. You were asleep at the light. You're visiting out here? Yeah. Okay, cool. And do you have registration for the vehicle? Is the vehicle yours, sir? It's a what? A rental? Oh, okay.
Once officers ran the plates back at the patrol car, everything flipped. The Huracan was stolen, and Dugan had multiple felony warrants.
This is a regular traffic stop, right? This was a regular traffic stop, and then it turned into something else. What is it? This vehicle is stolen. I need you to come out of the car. This vehicle that you're driving is stolen. I rented this vehicle, sir. Okay, I need you to step out of the vehicle.
IDK requesting a unit 100, 1 west of Yolanda with the
You out of there.
Then came the pedal slam.
Oh, look how far he is, bro.
100, 1 west of Yolanda with the front strip.
Look how far he is, man.
Then came the pedal slam. 113 miles per hour in seconds, leaving patrol units fighting to keep up
he
a
would have
slam.
just made a right. He probably would have been going. I'm so serious, bro. Bro, he's way down there, bro.
Then came the
He probably could have made it right. He would have been gone.
pedal slam. 113 miles per hour in seconds, leaving patrol units fighting to keep up with that 610 horsepower monster.
Crash, ETC. Vehicle just TC. Sherman Way. And Van Alden.
I would have bailed out something.
Where is he? He's got me inside this mess.
Dang. Man, listen, but I'd be so mad if somebody steal my Lambo and the police say, Mrs. Bueller, we saw it on phone you, but the person stole your Lambo, they crashed. I'm gonna be like,
10-847. Let me have the frequency. Vehicle is TC'd. I can't tell, dude.
if he did, lost his life, rest in peace to boy. If he did, he probably, I don't know. He ain't looking good. He upside down. Like if I heard somebody lost their life in my car, I'd be so sad, but maybe I'm an empathetic person, I'd be so sad. I wouldn't want that.
No,
I'd be like,
I can't tell, but this is the other half of the car.
When officers finally reached the crash scene, they didn't find a wrecked supercar. They found half of one. Dugan had lost control at 160 miles per hour, and the impact ripped the Lamborghini clean in two.
Hey, Roger. We don't have a suspect location. Car direction of travel yet?
Sorry, so it's great.
The other half was hurled down the street, debris scattered everywhere. It took several minutes to even find the rest of the car. Dugan was ejected from the wreckage and pronounced dead at the scene. In Los Angeles, October 2025, a stolen Jaguar tied to an assault on an officer flew down the 10 freeway at 130 miles per hour. The driver weaved through traffic like he'd done it 100 times before. No panic, no flinching, just smooth, confident driving.
We're going to stick with it, continuing southbound 110 freeway through downtown LA. Next interchange is going to be the 10 freeway, doing about 90 miles per hour, flying. This guy is flying past everybody, now upwards of 100, pushing 100 miles per hour. Southbound 110 freeway, coming up on the 10 in just about 10 seconds.
Even with heavy traffic, the driver pushed the Jaguar close to 150 miles per hour, slicing through cars like they were standing still. The helicopter never lost him, but he was making
need to run
ground units work for every second.
They let it go. He made his way into downtown LA, got on the 101 freeway, then sped right through downtown LA, off the freeway, got onto the 110 freeway just a few moments ago, and again, flying at upwards of 100 miles per hour southbound on the 110 freeway. They lost him momentarily. Now, as I mentioned, that helicopter has a visual once again, but right now there's nobody behind this Jaguar. Now, we believe it's a stolen Jaguar. We know there's obviously a driver in there, but unclear whether there's anybody else in there with him at this point. But he's trying to squeeze through. Going to squeeze through here. Uh-oh. Whew. East on Manchester, under the 110 freeway. Now moving away from us here. He's under the freeway, under the overpass, right? He did not come out the other side. Did not come out the other side yet. This is always a tricky point. It's always a telltale sign if they're looking to dump the vehicle. Sometimes they will stop under the freeway. He's out of the vehicle. The vehicle's rolling. The vehicle is rolling into the intersection. He is on foot under that freeway. He is under the overpass, and there is nobody behind him. He may very well walk away from this crime. Now look at this. That Jaguar is moving on its own, bumping into that van. This is incredible. That driver's seat, by my observation, is empty, and now that Jaguar is coming to a stop there in the middle of the intersection at Manchester Boulevard.
Right as the Jaguar slipped under the bridge near the 110 freeway, the chase took a sharp turn. The driver jumped out mid-pursuit, leaving the car rolling forward on its own. A few seconds later, it came out the other side, with the helicopter still locked on, but the driver's seat completely empty. Officers swarmed in, but there was no one to catch. That high IQ move saved the driver, and to this day, no arrest has been reported.
Try and open it up. Is it okay? It's open, and here it comes to an end. Into a pole. Ah, shucks, he says.
If there's one place you don't want to run from the law, it's Georgia, home of the Clayton County Sheriff's Black Hawk Unit. That's exactly what a suspect in a stolen Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 tried to do. At first, he slowed down, flicked on the hazard lights like he was about to comply, and then stomped the gas.
Charlie Lima Alpha 5841. That tag's going to come back to a 2007 Chevy Tahoe.
Is it me? I can't even see him. What buddy at?
Straight. Oh, he probably crashed.
Dispatch, stand by 1 second. Stand by.
Yep, he crashed. He crashed.
The 650 horsepower ZL1 pulled away easily at first, flexing that LT4 engine. But bad decisions caught up quick. A few miles later, deputies spotted smoke in the air and downed poles. A clear trail left by the fleeing Camaro.
Slow down. Right there.
Radio, hold traffic. Hey!
You're hearing that car no more.
When they caught up, the Camaro was completely wrecked, smashed on a gas station lawn with its front end ripped off and airbags blown. A Lexus sat nearby, also damaged. The suspect had already bailed out, but not for long. Just up the road, deputies found him with his hands in the air, surrendering. He was taken into custody, facing charges that include grand theft auto and felony fleeing. In Moscow, on August 19, 2013, a mint green Nissan GTR barreled through Moscow's rush hour. A police car flashed lights and sirens chasing hard. Without dash cams, one officer grabbed his phone and recorded the chase from the passenger seat as the GTR darted past line after line of cars.
Делаем остановочку вправо делаем, 327, на обочину останавливаемся, 327, на обочину останавливаемся, аккуратненько, делаем остановочку вправо. 953, 2242.
That trap is too packed for me to be running from the police, man. Like, this is why I can't be a policeman. I value my life too much. I thought, wow, y'all, I wouldn't even want to chase them. I'd be like, you know what, you got it, bro. What do you stop?
Every time you rip a slab pack, Arena Club makes...
I know I didn't press the M on my keyboard.
After the stop, the driver claimed he couldn't hear the sirens because the music was too loud. But what grabbed everyone's attention wasn't just his excuse, it was the vanity plate on the dash that read Taylor, matching the stage name of Russian rapper Alexander Tequila Tarasov. The clip exploded online, with many saying it looked more like a stunt than a real chase. No official statements. The identity of the driver was never confirmed. On August 23, 2022 in Arkansas, a trooper pulled over a silver Corvette with tinted windows. But with nearly 500 horsepower waiting under the hood, the stop didn't last long. The driver punched it, leaving his passenger on the curb and blasting down 9th Street at over 60 miles per hour, forcing cops to push hard just to keep up.
I got a passenger getting out. Black male, white shirt.
He'll be on for that, bro. He'll be on for that lane. He's gonna beat it up.
Not long after, 2 other units picked up the chase, but the Corvette was already gone, pushing speeds no patrol car could match. Even with sirens wailing, the gap only grew wider.
Yeah, I'll drive too slow, but I was just going to stop, yeah.
Minutes later, more units joined the pursuit, but conditions only got worse. Heavy rain started pounding down near Pike Avenue, visibility dropped to near zero, and the Corvette was clocked at nearly 150 miles per hour, slicing through the storm. With the streets slick, traffic stacking up, and the Corvette disappearing in the downpour, the call was made, end the pursuit. 2 cars lined up on Georgia 400, a Dodge Charger and a Nissan GTR, turning the highway into their own racetrack. But when the blue lights came on, the trooper chose the worst target possible, the 800 horsepower GTR. The driver floored it, and the chase lit up the night at nearly 170 miles per hour.
He don't know how to apex. Get into 85, stand by, I'm gonna try to pit. Alright, got too close to the wall for me to commit to it. We're connectors, or excuse me, 85 south, 85 south. Coming up on Buford Highway, 895, you're going to be able to intercept us.
I'm getting on Buford Avenue. I'm getting on Moore's Mill right now, southbound now, southbound.
Alright, we're passing up. Stand by, he's trying to swerve off here at Cortland. Made it on to Cortland, off at Cortland. We got to get him stopped here pretty quick. Coming up to the red light intersection clear, fresh green, fresh green. My GPS come unplugged.
Here you draw.
Left. Back to the interstate, We're going to be coming out right here at the HOV ramp. Clear. HOV ramp to connector south. Connector south, be coming up at 20. He's smoking. Yep. All the way over to the right. Might be trying to take 20. Back over to the left. Coming up to 20. Alright, right shoulder. He almost losing it in the curves. Still right shoulder coming up the flat shoals.
It says post 20, or it says B24CU. So.
Noonan.
Should be on that, right?
It's on the other remote right here.
Got weed standing by at 5144.
What about, Dan, don't tell me we got a flat. What's going on with the car? Atlanta, my car's giving up on me. My car's giving up on me. It's dying. He's coming up to the Union City.
The GTR weaved through traffic like a missile, slipping past cars and dodging a pit attempt. After pushing 175 miles per hour under the runway tunnel, the trooper had no choice but to give up and stop the chase. But the night wasn't over yet. Not long after, the GTR clipped a raised median near Union City and crawled into a gas station. The driver, 21-year-old Patrick Lee, reeking of alcohol, tried to walk away until troopers caught up and ended the chase in handcuffs. On October 15, 2023, Corporal Billy Martin with Arkansas State Police was parked on the eastbound shoulder of Interstate 40 near West Memphis when a yellow Chevrolet Camaro SS came flying past with its headlight.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep, bro. I know I gotta wake up early. I don't know why I'm still up, bro. I'm gonna go to sleep, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I love y'all.